Hello everyone, this is the Bishman and I am here with what will hopefully be the first of many videos following my time in the Age of Wonders free Summer 2014 multiplayer tournament. This is a tournament that's been created by the community and given the official nod by Triumph, who are the developers of the game. Originally it was a just for fun tournament, but it has since been announced by Triumph that prizes will be awarded to those who land in the top 4 places. I have no hope of being one of them, but well, I don't want to say it's the taking part that counts, but I would like to think at least I won't come last. The tournament consists of 64 players, so assuming there's at least one other person in those 64 who aren't any good and may actually stand a chance of not being last. It sort of functions similar to how most tournaments go. You've got the set group brackets of 4 right at the very start. Those 4 fight against each other. The 2 who score lowest go through. I'm not quite clear what happens next. I don't know if the 2 who go through fight against each other and then they go into a normal tournament bracket, or if the 2 just get resorted and go against anyone within the remaining however many, 32 or whatever. And then basically it just becomes a normal, everyone goes through the tiers until we have the last 2 and those 2 face off to have our winner. I personally have been playing Age of Wonders since the first installment. God knows how long ago now. But as I say, I don't have high hopes for being the person to claim the first place. It's a bit weird. I've always sort of traditionally played scenarios. Never really played that many human opponents. I've never ever played on a live multiplayer game. This is actually the first time I'm playing on a live multiplayer game. So it's sort of trial by fire, really. I wasn't ever really that good at the first Age of Wonders. I sort of skipped Age of Wonders 2 and Shadow Magic I've been playing since it landed, really. Playing a lot of single player scenarios and mostly play by email. So I do have a bit of online experience, but play by email is a bit of a different beast. It can be a lot slower, a lot more time to think. And always you're sort of playing on classic turns, whereas this is simultaneous, so it's going to be a lot faster, a lot reactive. Well, hopefully I won't be reactive, I'll be the one forcing, but you never know. Most of the games I did play were casual sort of skirmishes, a couple of hot seat games, quite a lot of them were cooperative scenarios or story scenarios downloaded off the internet, so they're not really that representative of sort of cutthroat tournament games that I'm sort of expecting that I'm going to be thrown in. Pretty much what I'm trying to say is I haven't done myself any favours in terms of preparing. So yeah, I don't hold high hopes, but I do know the game, so you don't know. It depends what sort of hand I'm dealt. So this is the first game in the tournament. I'm going up against a person called Fjordus, which I hope is how you pronounce it. That isn't his name in the forums, it's DrKillinger, or DrKillinger, I'm guessing Killinger. I don't know a whole lot about him. I don't know his playing style, I don't know his preferred race or class, so I'm just going to have to try and prepare for anything that's thrown at me. In the interest of time, I've created a leader prior to starting the game. You can see him here. His name is Root the Majestic, and he's a human archdruid. Despite not looking in the slightest, sort of looks like some sort of stereotypical leprechaun monster Hulk thing. The spheres I've chosen are Expander, Explorer and Adept of Earth, which are probably a bit of an odd mix, I guess. Expander and Explorer, hoping for immediate expansion, reaching out across the map, getting an early foothold before he has the chance to get it, and maybe just sort of trying to figure out where he is before he knows where I am, basically trying to get the upper hand before he can. By nature I'm not a quick player. I normally like to sit there and do a bit of empire building. I'm very much sort of the civilization, sit back, get the cultural victory. So this war game sort of focus is it's not something I'm overly comfortable with. So I need to sort of learn to be faster. I need to learn to establish myself and defend, and then start putting pressure on him. Whether I can do it, I don't know. Once I've got my city sorted, everything else should run fine. I'll have enough gold coming in, enough mana coming in, but should is the vital word. So if I win this battle, we'll both go on to fight the other 2 in our brackets to decide which players will progress onto the next tier. However, as of presently speaking, the other 2 players haven't actually posted on the forums or made contact with us since originally signing up for the tournament. So not too sure why that is. Perhaps real life got in the way, or they simply forgot. I don't know. I'm not too sure what will happen if they don't make themselves known though. At this point I'm assuming both players will be marked as defeat, and me and Fjordus will go through to the next tier. I don't know whether we'll face each other again in that next tier, or if everything's shuffled and I'll end up going against a victor from one of the other brackets. So I'll just figure that out when it comes to it. I need to get that far. Two of them could come out of the woodwork and end up being amazing and beat me, and well, there's a good chance that I won't go through at that point. But I mean, there's still another 2 or 3 weeks left on the deadline. I think it's this weekend actually where we have to have played our first game. I won't go too much into the logistics of it, but this is actually my third game. This is, well, it was meant to be my third game, but because this is the opponent I could contact, I did it as my first game. So I don't know if by this weekend the person who was meant to be fighting me first automatically forfeits. I think that's how it works, to be honest. I'm just going to end up going with the flow of whatever happens. So the map we're playing on is a medium 1v1 map. Combat between independents is always automatic, and combat between humans is always tactical. All of the settings are left to default, I believe. There was meant to be a timer per turn, I believe, but it looks like it's been forgotten, which it's no worries for me. As long as neither of us takes the mick, that's absolutely fine. You can see my starting area doesn't seem overly that bad. Started in grasslands. I'm sort of just trying to do the immediate spread out, see what's around me. Got a lot of mines around me, which is good. A lot of them in my immediate area. Just try and clear them out. Looks like I've got a couple of ruins there to the south. Got another mine there. There's a lot of volcanic lands surrounding me, which isn't all that great. I'm playing as humans, so I don't quite know how much of a hit humans take for morale on volcanic. I can't imagine it's great. I don't think they're too happy about it, but I've started on grasslands, so that's a good start. They'll be happy about that. I've basically got everyone out there. I'm hoping he hasn't started right next to me, which on a random map, I'm guessing placement settings mean we'll be a fair distance away from each other, so I'm not too worried about him just marching up and straight into my city at this time. I just want to spread all my units out, see where everything is, and then maybe get back in my city and start building when I have a good idea of where I'm going. So whilst I'm expanding, I'll just go over the basic rules just to sort of give you an idea of what I'm doing. The rule number 1, no split stacking. Took me a bit of a while to understand what split stacking was, and I sort of misunderstood it at first, but now I get it. It's defined as an opponent deliberately attacks a side hex rather than the centre hex of your main army to split your army out, usually done to stop the additional army participating, and usually done by whoever clicks the fastest. What I didn't sort of realise, in Age of Wonders, if you've never played it, obviously you've got your hexes. If you attack, it includes people around the hex where the attack is happening, the one that you're moving onto, so you can position attacks to sort of exclude depending on where people are stood. I believe, if I'm reading the rule correctly, you can actually use that to a tactical advantage, but you're not allowed to use it when somebody's trying to move their units. So if someone's got a stack and they're moving units one by one down a path, you can't then attack half the stack whilst it's moved. You have to wait until the movement's been done, because it's seen as cowardly. If it was classic turns, you would just have to deal with all the stack being moved at once, but because it's simultaneous, you have to, so you're moving all your units at the same time as your enemy does. So it's sort of, it's nice to let them do it basically. But if you're attacking a city that's got a whole bunch of units around it and they're just stationary, then as far as I'm reading the rule, and I hope I'm reading it correctly, you can attack it in such a way that it only includes a certain amount of the army, because that's a tactical usage of the attack system. I may be incorrect in that. Not 100% too sure. I hope I am, because I hope I don't violate it. Out of fear, I probably will just try and attack so it includes everyone, and then at least I know I'm not running foul of the rule. But if I am correct or incorrect, I'd prefer someone to shout up and sort of say, "Oi, you're wrong," or "You're right," which is brilliant. Rule number 2, please allow sufficient time to finish your match. If you repeatedly quit, then you may be liable to forfeiting your games. Basically, don't rage quit and scream and say, "Ah, you're a git." Because why should you? The problem with games like Age of Wonders and Civilization and whatnot is it's a big chunk of time to sit and play a game. So to get halfway through and someone just goes blah and throw the game, it's not very nice. Rule number 3, 15-second rule. You must not attack a player in the first 15 seconds of your turn. You may manoeuvre away to your heart's content, but no attacking. If you break it, you must retreat your forces. If you do not, then you forfeit the match. It is as simple as that. This is one I'm slightly worried about, because I can sort of spend a couple of turns prepping and going, ooh, I'm going to attack him, and then when the attack turn comes I get all excited and suddenly charge into attack. So hopefully I'll realise before and retreat, but of course that will probably give away my intentions to my enemy, but I'll try and keep it on mind. If you look at the map, I'm having a bit of a problem with bandits at the moment. I absolutely hate bandits. I'm actually attacking a camp right now, clearing out. Basically, bandit camps keep repeatedly generating bandits, and they run around and they run into your territory and they take over your watchtowers and they burn down your cities. They don't generally attack your cities if they've got units in them, but if you ever out your cities, they'll happily run in and burn it down or whatever they will do. Basically, that means whilst there's bandits running around, I have to have someone in my city, and when I have someone in my city, it means they can't be out scouting. And of course, I'm putting a bit of a push on scouting at the moment. I'm doing a lot of summons at the moment because I'm an archdruid and not something like the warlord who can pump out a lot of strong units quickly. My intention is to get a lot of I think it's monster hunters, because they're cheap and they're cheerful, and churn them out, but also use that in conjunction with summons. So I'm building up a decent army by using both my gold and my mana. As long as I can sustain it, that's the problem. If I start running dry on either one, the entire plan falls apart. But hopefully I can have a decent enough army. The problem of doing it the way I'm doing it is I end up with a bunch of monster hunters, I end up with a bunch of summoned wild animals, I think I'm using at the moment. They're not particularly strong, so if Fjordus does arrive and he has a bunch of stronger units, such as tier 3 or 4, potential problem. So I'll just have to deal with that when it comes, I guess. I've got to pray that by having a big enough army I can expand, and it forces me to get places, because I could just sit back and research, but let's face it, that's probably even a bigger gamble. So I've got a couple of decent stacks just wandering around, so again, lay the land, those bandits are still being idiots. My borders are expanding as my city. I think it's become a city now. When it goes on to the next stage, I'll have that mine. I've also got that mine up in the top right that's just come into it. Sorry, not mine, whatever you call it, place with fire and stuff. Forget the name, that'll come back to me at some random point in the night. Rule number 4 of the rules: if you rage quit in the middle of a fight or disconnect or do not show up within the first 15 minutes, the match is forfeit. Sort of ties in with rule 2. Yeah, rule 2. Basically just saying if you don't turn up, you're forfeited, which is no problem for me at the moment. Rule number 5: in the event of a disconnection, the match is to be saved. Basically, if either me or my opponent disconnects, which I hope to God doesn't happen, you sort of got to pause the game. The complication comes in if there's a battle. You can't really pause in the middle of a battle, so you have to sort of rewind and pick up from before the battle and then replay the battle as you were previously. You can't just decide to change your tactics, because you're sort of working with knowledge that you didn't have before. Rule number 6, this goes into the setup of the map, which doesn't really help me with the knowledge of what's going on here. The standard setup is two-player duels, medium maps, default settings. It does say we can change if we both agree to it. I think we just went with standard settings, if I can remember. Yeah, standard, perfectly fine by me. Pretty much everything, because it's standard. I'm going to get basic number of dwellings, all sorts of interesting things on the map, but it doesn't give me any sort of additional knowledge into what's around me, so I can't use it to my advantage, which is good because we're both on level playing ground, so that's fine. Rule number 7, manual combat versus humans always, auto against independents, which is exactly what's going on here when I've been attacking the bandits, just automatically cutting through. When I do meet my opponent, those will all be manual combat. To those who haven't seen the game and think it currently just looks like Civ, but with sort of your normal fantasy tropes, which is a bit of a lie, by the way. There is a bit more going for this game than that, but I can appreciate that that's probably what it looks like by the outset. When you fight, it isn't all just done on the overworld, it does zoom in and you get the tactical sort of Warhammery type battles, which is brilliant, absolutely love it. So that is what will happen when I start seeing my opponent, which I have not so far, and that is a good thing because I haven't expanded all that much. I'm sort of starting to panic a bit now because I haven't spread out. I'm sort of looking at the mini-map down the bottom and thinking, that's a small chunk of the map I can see, and it's always constantly on my mind, how much can the opponent see? And I'm sat in the dark. I'm just sort of worried that I'll be sat there sort of building units and thinking, oh yeah, I'm going alright, I've got some mines and stuff, and then all of a sudden this giant army will come over and just stomp on me. Entirely possible, especially when you don't know the ability of your opponent and I'm just sort of floundering around in the dark. Rule number 8, banter and taunting is allowed, rudeness, swearing and racial language is not. Most of these are common sense rules. Probably no banter. I'm not really going to talk to my opponent because I'm too busy playing against him. That said, because it is a turn based, it is easy enough to do. You know, I finish my turn, there's nothing else I'm going to do, but as far as I see it, if I speak to him, I may start giving things away, so it's probably best just to have a silence. Here's the tactical map, that's all I can see. It's not that great. I could probably do with another city at this point. I've only got the one. I'm very worried about the fact that if a bunch of stacks come in, I can't defend it all that well. I'm also very worried that I've spread out a tiny bit and I can't find any other dwellings and I can't see any of his scouts. I mean, fair enough, I haven't expanded. Assuming that he's working the same way that I am, he is probably, I'm going to assume top left at this point. I'm thinking that I'm sort of like bottom right-ish, so he may be top left-ish, presuming I normally play on random maps, which means placement is absolutely random, so you could actually just start right next door to each other and the map could be over within seconds, but we're playing on standard settings, and my belief with standard settings probably means we're going to be set a certain distance apart, so it's probably going to be opposites each other, so sort of like top left-ish, somewhere around there. That's the knowledge I'm working off at the moment. That's all I have to work off. Whether it turns out to be true, I don't know. If he is top, it means we're sort of in line with each other. There's the whole left and right sides of the map just up for grabs. Whether we have enough time for that, I don't know. We'll sort of figure it out. Rule number 9, stalling in combat whilst dishonourable is to be allowed. It is a legitimate tactic and one that is really only effective for a very limited window. I don't really understand how much of a legitimate tactic it is. Stalling in combat, basically, if you've got city assault, you can just go hide behind the walls. All I can sort of understand is if you're using magic to sort of hit them with fireballs, or if you've inflicted poison. You can just go hide your units elsewhere whilst they slowly suffer from poisoning or bleeding or something around those lines. But otherwise, in my eyes, I can't think of any situations where I've used stalling to my advantage. I don't know, maybe there's some sort of tactic. I'm not too knowledgeable. I'm not as knowledgeable as a fan of this game should probably be. I don't know the ins and outs, I don't know the tips and tricks. I just sit down and play a game and always enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy the game, then what's the point? And some people can learn all the numbers and they understand this and that about the game, and some people can't. And I'm a bit in the middle. I understand bits and bobs about the magic, I understand the abilities, but I'm not really down with knowing the game inside out. And it sort of annoys me at points, but I sort of am aware that if I did know it inside out, I would probably stop playing immediately. As I say, some people derive enjoyment from that, I personally don't. It's the same people who know rulebooks for war games inside out, whereas I just sit there looking amazed, but I have no idea how to actually play the game. I don't know, it's going to work to my disadvantage, and it's very silly of me to go into a tournament with that, not with that sort of mindset, but I'm not going to try and change myself. If I win, awesome. If I don't, slightly annoyed at myself, but yeah, that's how it goes. Rule number 10, no standing on the retreat arrows to force the attacker to retreat. This is something I'm guessing at, because I've never done it myself. Standing on the retreat arrows, forcing the attacker to retreat. If you stand... Oh yeah, when you're a defender, when you're a defender you can't retreat anywhere. When you're an attacker you can retreat from battle. You can go into the tactical and then think, oh, don't want to do this. Or you may have a hero in there who's slightly damaged and you don't want to see die, so he just buggers off out of the battlefield. There are arrows on the battlefield, and if you go stand on them, your units disappear, but that only works if you're the attacking force. The attacking force can disappear. The defending force does not get the chance to run away, I believe. I believe that's always been the case in the older entries. I haven't actually tried in this game, so I may be lying to you. I hope I'm not. Lying probably isn't a very good start. Either way, I don't understand that rule, and I don't intend on going anywhere near the retreat arrows anyway, so it doesn't make a difference to me. If I'm attacking, I'm generally doing it in the knowledge that I can take them down. I'm quite a safe player. I'm only going to go into a fight if I've got a decent chance upwards of winning. I'm not that confident that if it's like a closely matched or below, I'm going to have a good stab at it, so I'll generally try and play combat safe, so the retreat arrows don't really apply to me. Rule number 11, this applies to mainly the full tournament. You cannot play the same class twice in a row. You must let the judges, but not your opponent, know what class you'll play for your upcoming match, which I didn't actually do for this match. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter for the first one. So I'm playing an Archdruid in this game. In my next game, I will not be allowed to play Archdruid. I will have to choose one of the other classes, which I sort of did on purpose because probably quite a bad admission. I don't think I've ever actually played as the Archdruid prior to this game, which is, again, rather silly. Pretty much what we can deduce from everything I'm saying on this is that I've gone into this tournament an absolute idiot. But no, the hope was that if I played as Archdruid, I could play as a better person in the next round. That's the hope, anyway, and then I'd stand a better chance, because I figure that I don't want to say I can throw the first game, because that, if I wanted to throw the first game, I would have just surrendered, but I figure I'm sort of playing blind. I'm not used to how my opponents play. I'm still sort of getting used to the live mechanics, so even if I played as my best, I'd still be at a disadvantage because I'm getting used to my surroundings. So I sort of figured if I played as something else that I was getting used to, then at least in my second game I'd be a bit more comfortable, and I'd be playing with a more comfortable class, so overall I'd be a whole lot stronger. But I might just get battered, so, you know, that may end up just being totally irrelevant. What we can see here is that I'm going down south with my leader, and I'm starting to clear out all sorts of bits and bobs, and get a lot of gold from clearing out dungeons, getting lots of items. There's sort of a monster camp, I forget what they're called. I'm just sort of clearing stuff along the way, so if I do come across my opponent, my units out there are very strong and I can start retreating back in the idea of knowing where he is. I'm only going in one direction at the moment. I could really do some more units going out. I am building them. You can see the little stack just south. We've got some more bloody bandits walking around there. So I'm going to continue pumping out units, stacks of 6 hopefully, and just send them out and wandering around until I come across something. A stack of 6, if you see that coming across, even if they're not the strongest units, you may only have one unit just scouting around, so I'm going to have the upper hand. Generally when you send out scouts, you only have one unit, maybe like a flock of crows or something, or depending on what race and class you're playing as. So you can see here I've just got a steed. I'm picking up all sorts of things to make my leader strong. This is generally a way I don't play. I'm not that aggressive. Normally I do this later on in the game. I sit on my hometown, I work around the near what's going on around me, whereas I'm spreading out, which is something people have done against me in Hot Seat and always ended up spread quite thin and then getting taken down. So I'm sort of worried that I may get beaten in the fact that I'm falling prey to the things that I've beaten others against, but at the same time I'm very worried about just sort of keeping close to my base and not knowing what's going on out there, and maybe the opponent taking over cities and expanding, and if he takes over a bunch of cities, his gold income will be so much more than mine and I'll just end up against an unstoppable force. So I know I have to be aggressive. I need to get out there and I need to find something. What I'm worried about now is that I've stretched out and I still haven't found another city. I don't want to found another city in this game. It's a 1v1, it's only a medium map, which is still quite big, but the gold hit for doing that is going to be colossal. And, well, I could come back from it, but the problem is, if he starts attacking me and I need to pump out units, there's a city. That's an independent city, I believe, or a dwelling. It's a boundary anyway, so I need to wander up to that boundary or something, but I'll do it by force if I have to. The only worry about it is that is a fair decent way from my main city, and I prefer my cities to be quite close, because obviously then you can get units back. So there we go, we've got into the cartographer's tent. and that's revealed that city, I believe. Is it a city? I'm not quite sure what it is. It looks like some sort of Aztec-y thing. Might be a dwelling. No, I think it's a city. As you can tell, I've only seen so many things this game has to offer. Dwellings are sort of, you get the fairy dwellings and the giant dwellings and the dragon dwellings, which I hope not to come across in this game, because I just don't have time to deal with them. You can't build them up, but you can produce very specialised units from them. I could probably more do with a city in this game. I really need the range that it's going to give me. I need the buildings that it's going to give me, and I need the units that I need to produce. Dwellings are generally a bit too costly, especially if it's stuff like dragons and giants, and it's something I'm not going to be able to pump out at this point. So yeah, that's my city, that's what I'm aiming against. I'm starting to recover a fair bit in the south now, and I'm still sticking to my guns that he's probably in the north. I'm still thinking northwest. Somewhere in the north at least. So that city looks good. It's got a forge, I believe it is. It's got a forge in there. So it's going to have a decent gold income. Got a hero come out, so that's always good. I can't afford it at the moment, I believe. So I may have to leave that till next turn. So if I walk up to my border, I'll need to have a word with them. There they are. Asking for gold, which I don't really have, so I'll leave them. See, I could open my borders and pay gold, which is something I used to do when I started playing the game, but what's the point? All it does is allow you to walk through the territory, which I've got a nice path, so I'll be able to charge through. But one day they're going to randomly contact me and say, hey, do this quest and we'll give you our city. You don't need open borders to do that, so in my eyes, you may as well just save the money, wait until they give you a request, and then you'll get the city. Because open borders, it's such a small chunk of land, it's such a waste of money. So I'll just wander around, continue what I was doing, and yeah, when they offer that, I'll take it as my second city. I still could do with one closer to home. Again, I don't want to do the settler route. Going back into the rules, number 12, you get one chance every match to ask for a reroll of the map. Probably a bit late for that now. Only if the starting terrain for your race is terrible, and only in stage 1, which is stage 1 of your first 3 matches, which I'm going to guess is this even if this is actually my stage 3 match. Getting a bit complicated now. And this must be done by turn 5, so it's too late anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it anyway. I start in grassland. It looked fairly decent to me from the start, and I'm probably not going to complain unless I was starting on a terrain that would just cause an instant riot. And yeah, if my opponent started on terrain like that, I would fully sympathise with him, because there's nothing worse than starting... Basically, if your race starts on terrain that their population doesn't like, they take a massive morale hit, and they can start to basically riot and overthrow your city, and you can lose the game fairly fast if it is bad enough. If you have bad terrain and if you have enemies within your borders, yeah, and you just lose the game. And that's got nothing to do with your opponent. That's just luck of the draw. And in a tournament match, luck of the draw is a bit unfair, really. You want the loss to actually be influenced by your opponent, at least. That's the whole point of you being there. I don't want to be playing now and just get a random notification that my opponent's lost, because that's a bit naff. So yeah, but he hasn't said anything, I haven't said anything, so it looks like we're good to go. You can see I'm still summoning units. I've got my hero party there. I'm summoning beasts into it. I'm going to send them out on another scout, and probably try and go east, figure out what's going on there, because I'm very worried. There's Volcanic over there, and he may be on Volcanic. Keeping in mind that I still have no idea what race or class he is. He could be a warlord and suddenly come charging over with a bunch of really horrible looking units that come punch me in the face, but I don't know. I have to be cautious, but I have to not be cautious enough to not do anything. Rule number 13, the decision of the judges is to be respected. Basically, don't break the rules, don't be an idiot, you can be disqualified. It's not really a rule, again, it's common sense. Rule number 14, if you feel one of these rules has been broken, but you carry on playing, then you have no recourse. So basically, if I observe my opponent breaking any rules, then it is up to me to stop him. If I accept it, then it is my problem. Yeah, I don't expect my opponent to do so. He's a nice enough chap, so that's good by me. So yeah, I'm starting to spread out a little. You can see there's still bandits, even though I took out a couple of bandit camps, there's still bandits appearing, so there must be another one beyond my borders. So I'm going to have to concentrate. I mean, it's good practice because my units are fighting and they're levelling up, but I'm getting sick of them being within my area, and I think when they're in your boundaries you do get a morale hit. So I'm going a bit up north now, and I'm just sort of seeing what's happening with my leader party and my heroes and my units, trying to level them up. I've got some sort of ancient ruins in inn. I'm not going to clear them outright. Actually, no, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got quite a decent stack there. That's a 6 and a 5 stack. I could probably do with sending one of them out for scouting soon. So yeah, it's not going too bad at the moment as far as playing the game goes, but I am constantly worried about what my opponent is up to. I mean, he could have the whole top half of the map by now and be manically laughing, and that's... I don't know, I'm aware that other people play it a whole lot more aggressive than I do, and that's what's worrying me. So, I don't know, my heroes are levelling up, well, this is my leader levelling up, so I'm getting good sort of preparation, but I've got to sort of ask myself, am I pumping out enough, are they strong enough? But they are kind of moot questions, because there's no possible way of knowing, aside from sending out scouts, which I'm doing notoriously bad at in this game. I'm sending out massive parties, and that's how I work. I don't like, well, there's nothing wrong with sending out one scout and having it getting battered, because the knowledge you gain from that scout is good enough, it's worth the sacrifice. But as far as I see it, if I'm wandering around in a 6 stack and I come across one of his scouts, then I can get rid of it, and that's my message that, oi, I'm walking around with 6 stacks, you send scouts over, they're going to get battered. And he'll probably still send scouts over, because scouts are cheap, but it's the knowledge that I have 6 stacks walking around being my scouts that'll sort of make him think, ooh, hang on, he's scouting around with 6 stacks, he might be quite strong, which I'm not. I'm sort of playing a false sort of front in hope that it backs off any attacks at the moment. Whether it does or not remains to be seen. So, yeah, I'm sort of... I don't know, it seems quite quiet, and that's starting to worry me. Hopefully I'll take that second city soon, but I'm sort of worried that I need to expand to the right and actually see what's going on, because he could be sending armies down there. I mean, if he knew where I was, then I presumably would have also seen him, because I have a fairly decent visual range. I have the watchtower, but I mean, he could have only just seen the edge of my borders and know. I mean, it could be an independent city, because I think independent cities can now... Actually, I think independent cities are usually grey. I should probably pay attention to this sort of stuff. But, no, if he saw the colour of my borders... Yeah, independent is grey, but sometimes tinged by different colours. So if he saw the blue, then he would instantly know that that was me, and he could disappear without actually being close to my border. Whereas I can only see up to my borders, not beyond. So, yeah. Whilst I'm fiddling around with magic and just sort of figuring out what the hell's going on, we'll talk about the prizes. When I signed up to the tournament, I was not aware there were prizes, because there were no prizes at the time. Basically, at the time, it was a community sort of tournament. Everyone was just getting together to raise awareness of the game, which is an amazing game, and if you enjoy what you see here, I highly recommend getting hold of it. Highly recommend even. I wouldn't want to recommend anything. The old ones are also worth a stab if you do prefer, or also like the classic sort of route. I actually still actively play Shadow Magic, because there is no play by email function in this game yet. They have spoken as if it is going to be developed at some point, so I do hold hope. But until it is, then I'm still holding Shadow Magic as my play by email, go to source, especially with Civ 5 not having easily implemented play by email last I checked, which admittedly was a while ago. You can see I'm cleaning out these camps, and the unit's pretty much just giving up to me. These one, I highly doubt these one, nah. But the other two where they only had small stacks, I basically let them run. I could have probably fought them and won and been stronger units. I've got an eagle here. I could probably do with sending that eagle out for a scout. Eagles obviously have massive movement and they can fly over everything, but ooh, they've got a quest, and the quest is to give me their town. I do have to take out that giant floating holy tomb, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, that thing. But they will give me their town in return, and it's only one, so yeah, I've got my stack up here. I'll send them straight down. I'll get their city in return for fighting off the holy hordes, and yeah, that will be my second city. I could have done with a city earlier than this. This is now turn 21. Judging from the forums, some games have actually finished by now in turn 20, which I find absolutely astounding. My average games sort of last, I don't know, probably well into the 70s or 80s. Most average people seem to be ending around turn 40 or 50, so potentially we're looking at the mid-game. I don't like to say that because I don't feel like I'm in the mid-game. I don't feel like I'm doing well at all. I still feel like I'm in the early game. I'm starting to expand now into the volcanic area of the map. I'm basically spreading out. If he is in the bottom right hand corner, then presumably he will have scouts where I am starting to go across. So I'm going to assume that if my eagle continues going right, there is nothing below me. If he is below me, he hasn't expanded very well, so that will only be to my advantage. I'm going to fight this thing. Very likely victory, that's fine by me, and I take it out, but I do lose my griffin or whatever it was. But in return I have the city, which is great. It's a draconian one, but I'm gonna keep it as draconian, I believe. I'll probably just absorb it. By absorbing, you basically say, join our empire, but they remain draconian. You don't say, become human. There are several options when you take over a city. You can raise it, which is basically burning it to the ground. You can plunder it, which is basically stealing all the gold and everything from the city and for yourself. They're both acts of evil. You can absorb it, which is, as I say, is basically accepting it and saying, yeah, you're under my rulership now. Or you can migrate it, which is basically saying, everyone out of the city, humans only, and then you move your own population in, which again is an act of evil. The bonus of doing migrating means you get all the human buildings and you get all the human units, but by just absorbing, you can build all the draconian units and have all the draconian buildings, and as I have a human city and draconian city, that means I have choice, and choice is always very nice, so I'll probably stick with that. I'm not the biggest fan of the draconians. The cheapest units sort of pump out, they sort of have these flamers, and the ranged units, and they basically do a fire attack and it explodes several hexes round, which is good but slightly weak. And the problem is that a lot of units have fire protection. Dwarves and draconians, which are two of the races, are quite good with fire. So if he is either of them, we've got an independent city up there, so that could be my third city, only they've declared war on me, so I would have to take it by force, which is great. I think I'm not quite sure what the war thing's about. I don't know if it's because if you're a different race they hate you, or if you're a certain class, or if you're certain acts that you've done throughout the game. I believe I read on the forum somewhere it may be a bug that's going to be fixed, but I haven't read too much into it, so I may be lying on that. As you can see, I've got a fair chunk of the map now. There is no underground on this, so we're only looking at the overworld. So it's sort of imagining that there's nothing in the bottom right hand corner. I sort of can see half of the map. A bit sporadic. Ooh, that is a spy drone which has been sent by my opponent. He is sniffing around my territory, and this is where I send my 6 stack and sort of say, I have 5 stack now. I have stacks of 5, 6 stack. I'm going to batter you. So, yeah, they've declared war on me, and they've got a lot of units defending. If I sent my army over there and took it, I would be leaving it open. I would be leaving the rest of my empire open, and considering I now know the spy drones wandering around, that's not a very wise move. And look at this, also in my main city is another spy drone. So, teach it a lesson. This is not within the first 15 seconds, I firmly believe. Yeah, with it being 6 against 1, the 1 is definitely not going to win. So I'm assuming when I attack, it doesn't give my opponent. I have to choose how to attack. So yeah, I'm going to guess we're going to have to do a manual looking at the rules. But I suppose if my opponent really wanted to do 6 against 1 spy drone as automated, I wouldn't really blame him, because let's face it, if I had a spy drone out there, it'd basically be thrown to sacrifice. I'm only using it for its visual picking up on the map, not for actual fighting. But judging by the rules, we're going to have to do a fight, which is alright, because I'll be able to show you the tactical side of the game. But it is a bit of a one-sided fight. So here we go. This is what happens when you fight. You go into the thing, and here's my units that have been wandering around, and there's this spy drone just over the way. And I will be making short work of it. The problem with spy drones is that they explode, which is why I'm doing ranged attacks here, because if they explode next to your units, they damage them, which of course I don't want to happen. There you go. Especially annoying in city sieges, where you're sort of focusing on the big bad things that are coming up to your gates, and spy drones just fly up to your units, and you're like, ugh, well, they're weak and I can't be bothered dealing with them when I've got bigger fish to fry. And yeah, they just explode next to you. There's a spy drone buggering off. I don't believe that spy drone has actually seen my city. I think he's going back to my main city, believing that's my main area, which is maybe a good thing about having cities spread out. It's probably the only good thing about having cities spread out, if I'm very honest. He could have wandered up to there, seen that was... Well, he would know both my cities, assuming that he wouldn't know that I had anything else on the map. And he could basically charge an army against one, and I won't be able to get enough troops from the other to defend it. So, I know that spy drone's coming. I don't think he knows that I know it's coming, because obviously he isn't aware that I could see it. So I can have a set of troops ready just to batter it as soon as it comes over the hill. The problem is now that he knows where I am, so he can start sending bigger and nastier things for me. And of course, if he sends more spy drones around, he will have a better idea generally of what is going on. So, I guess we're going to be forced into some sort of... Well, we're being forced into the point where we... Well, he knows where I am, not where I know where he is, which is actually quite a bad standing for me. Because he will have the upper hand. Well, he already has the upper hand because he knows where I am, and he can start preparing, and he sort of knows my armies. Alright, he doesn't know that I have that other city with a stack in it, and he doesn't know if I have any other units. He will, if he has common sense, which I strongly believe he does, he will have figured out that I have units elsewhere on the map, because my leader is not in my main city. Now, to explain the whole leader city mechanic, if you don't know the game, basically what you have is a throne city, and my main city there, you can see the crown over it. That means that is my throne city. If my leader ever dies, he reappears at my throne city 3 turns later. During that time I can't cast magic, and my whole empire goes into a bit of disarray because obviously my leader's died. If my leader dies and my throne city is taken, then I lose the game because he has no way to come back. I can change my throne city, so in this draconian city I can install a throne, and that will become my throne city instead. You can only ever have one throne city. So he will have come over, seen that that is my throne city, but seen that my leader is not there. Now normally, well, alright, not normally, depends on how you play, but normally from what I've seen, your leader sits in your throne city, because obviously you want to defend your throne city. Not that your leader's your best unit, always, necessarily, usually quite strong, but the point is, the leader wasn't there, so he'll be aware that I've got units elsewhere on the map, because my leader isn't going to be walking around by himself, and it's a bit of a stupid sort of way to play the game unless you're just scouting, which turn 29 you'd hope most of the main scouting's done. I'm still scouting around, but I do have a good idea of what's happening. It's not just preliminary scouting, I'm sort of figuring out the wider map now. So whilst I'm sitting waiting for him to reappear and to see whatever the hell happened, I've got another leader come up. Try and get rid of some production in order to afford him. Not that leaders are the best thing ever, but it's nice to have them. They can be handy, they can cast spells and whatnot. So I'm going to send these up here in an attempt to sort of see where the spy drones were coming from. I sort of want to send them up and then back them out the moment I sort of know, because I don't want to lose that stack. It's only it's 1/6 stack, which is good, but if I'm edging close to his territory, I'm expecting to see more resistance. So I'm just going to send them up and then back out. The reason I'm sending up a 6 stack is because I'm expecting to see more drones. If I just sent one spy out, then it'd be spy versus spy, and potentially he would have destroyed my spy, and then he would know that I'm trying to do the same against him, and maybe send some more units out. I'm hoping that if I come across a spy unit, I can just instantly destroy it and carry on, and see enough of his area in time to retreat. Basically, it's a bit of a sort of juggling match, where I'm just sort of thinking he'll be using scouts. I could be entirely wrong. I'm just basing my guesses on what I know he knows, or what I think he knows, about my domain, which I'm thinking he may not know a whole lot. But I could be entirely wrong. There are ways to see things, things with long visual range. You could have cartographer's tent as revealed areas. We've got another independent. This actually looks like a dwelling from the trees. Yes, it's a fairy dwelling, I believe. It's sort of handy, I guess. Be careful not to go in their boundaries, otherwise they just instantly declare war against you sometimes. Well, sometimes they don't. Got some sort of free roaming independents there, just roaming around being a nuisance, but they ran away from me, so I'll leave them for now. I'm too busy sort of running around trying to figure out what's going on. Send these up here, see what's going on. Ah, there's that bandit camp. That's been a nightmare if I get rid of them whilst I'm up here. And get some orc spearmen. Could probably just send him up, I guess. Got a nice shield for my hero as well. And my hero's leveled up, which is always nice. This is my newest hero, I believe. The one that I only just got. So that's nice. Generally when I level up, I always try and choose the abilities that affects the entire stack. Basically you get like your basic abilities, which is like you get 5 upgrade points per level. And you can do stuff like more hit points, more defense, more melee strength, more range strength, blah blah blah. You also get stuff like frost protection, and abilities like spell casting and blah blah blah, etc. You sort of get the idea. But there are some abilities which affect the entire stack. So anyone who is in a stack with him may be stronger fighters, or they may have high morale, or they may have better defense, better resistance against magic. Generally they're the ones I try to go for, because, you know, if it affects the entire stack, that's beneficial to me. Try and figure out what's going down here with the dwelling. I've got quite a lot of units actually wandering around. They're a bit spread thin. That's probably the only worry at the moment. But like I said earlier, I can't just sit in the same place and do nothing. That would just work against me. I should probably just click on these guys. Whoop. Yeah, they want a bunch of gold. That's not worth it, really. Yeah. So I'm going to go up here. This is quite... Oh, there's another spy drone. And he knows I'm there, because he's starting to move back. I could probably retreat at this point, but he knows I've got a 6 stack wandering around him, and that it's got its eye on him. Now, the interesting thing is that what that looked like, it looked like a valley leading up to where I'm presuming my original prediction was that he'd be on the top left. That is a valley that's leading up to the top left. And I'm thinking maybe at the end of that valley he may be sat there, which is an awful thing, because valley, what a chokehold point. He could defend that quite nicely. He could shove a fort in there and that would be a nightmare to me. But, you know, if I get to that valley and he's there, then all I've got to do is like a funnel. I just shove all my units down that valley and start assaulting him. Now, I'm going to move them out of the way in a really odd way that he doesn't think I'll have moved. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this stack of 6 up here in the hope that the land loops round and I may be able to attack him. Now, I'm sort of playing a bit of a... there's another spy drone. I'm sort of playing a bit of a gamble here, but I'm thinking if I have that 6 stack that's just gone up there and then retreated, so he knows I'm wandering around what I'm assuming is the fringes of his domain. So he's going to send a bunch of units out to attack me. That's what... well, actually, that isn't what I would do, but that's what any other sane player who would probably win this game would do. Presuming I've got heroes and stuff in there, so, and he knows I've only got a 6 stack of my main city, so he knows I'm fairly spread thin. Oh, they hate me, that's great. God knows what their problem is. So, if he sends a massive army out to sort of try and flatten me, because as I say, we're on turn 33, most games end around turn 40, 50, so I think he may be looking at the end game already. I've actually uncovered quite a lot of the map. So if I can sort of like loop around behind him, whilst he's doing the end game attack. What was that up there? Ah, he's seen me. I'll take it out. It's within the first 15 seconds, I best not, that would be violation of the rule. I will wait 15 seconds and do other bits and bobs, at which point he may retract himself. And that's absolutely fine if he does. I wouldn't blame him if he didn't. But if he's aware I'm at the end of that area, just prattling around. Oh, he's already done it. 2 stacks of 6. Great. I wasn't expecting that. Run away, I guess. How am I going to do this? I best, if I get them back to my area, whichever way is the fastest along the path, I guess that'll allow him to move fastest. Build up some sort of army there. Keep moving these. He's got 2 stacks of 6. He can't be swimming in that many units. He could have a couple more stacks of 6, don't get me wrong. Well, probably a good chunk more. But I think they may be coming down. So if I retreat him to my city, and at the start of my next turn he needs to get there quick, then I think he's going to assume that because I've retreated, that's going to be most of my forces. The only thing working against me at this point is my leader is still not there, so he will be aware that my leader is elsewhere, and I think he may start assuming that my leader is in a city. So he will be aware that I have a second city, which he will start hunting for, and considering I have so many units in this one, it is possible that the other one may not be very well defended, especially as it is not in the immediate area. But I've got these sort of solitary backstabbing people moving up the map. Basically, because I know I can't take him with brute force, he's blocking me off. I'm going to have to go through the mountains, I guess. Or I could just sit there. He's walked straight past me. I'll bring in some units. I need reinforcements. Yeah, he's going to have to go through the mountains. He's moving quite quickly onto me. So even if he does take my city, that as far as my empire building and proper playing the game goes, I would have lost. But all his units could be in the... C, that isn't very good. All his units could be around down south searching for me, whilst I've got these guys up here sort of sneaking past his watchful eye. And hoping that he keeps his leader in his main city. I can just charge up to his main city, kill his leader, hoping that it's not that well defended, and take his city, and he will lose the game. It's not a normal tactic, as far as I can tell. I need to get those guys right near to my city as soon as I can. I'm afraid that they'll have too much of a movement penalty moving across mountains at the start of my next turn that they won't actually make it close enough though. And those stacks could take it out. Gonna build a stone wall if they do assault my city. Needs to have an extra layer of defence. What I'm starting to realise, and what I probably could have prepared for, and it's a bit late for it now, I don't have a whole lot of ranged units. Most of mine are quite close combat. This isn't looking good. The land isn't looping round how I expected. So the problem is if it comes back down I can't go up behind him. Got to bring up these units, have him into his defence. I'm hoping he'll stall. Oh dear. This is my 6th stack that didn't make it to my city quick enough. All I can hope is they've got, is that 2 heroes? Yeah, that was great. Yeah, all I can hope is to maybe do his heroes in. I'm not really familiar with the units he's using. He's a goblin. He's a goblin dreadnought by the looks of it, and got guns and all sorts. Which means ranged, which is very good, as I said before, because, alright, they've got the hunters, so they do have a bit of archery and everything, but these guys don't. As bringing in the wild animals and stuff, but I'm going to end up charging at 1 stack and the other stack's just going to flank me. But what else can I do? I can just sit and wait whilst they all pick me off from a distance, so I think it's only best that I sort of charge in. This hero is going to get battered. I'm going to lose him. That's how he goes. He couldn't get to the city fast enough. Problem for that means the city now has 1 less 6 stack to defend when the end comes. But hopefully I can hold out long enough for that, and hopefully my backstabbing tactic will work out. Ow. They're nasty. They are very nasty. Wow. I am not a fan of them. Well, I would be if they were on my side, but as they stand, my god. The issue is with them being ranged, they are going to be very good at assaulting my city. Because assuming my units are at the top of the walls, they won't even need to breach my walls, they can just shoot up. Fair enough, they'll take a bit of a hit on the inflicting damage because of the walls in the way and everything like that, but they seem very strong. I'm guessing, well, yeah, they look very leveled up and... Ow. I actually can't believe how fast they're just tearing my units apart. Okay, so now I know what I'm up against, and it doesn't fill me with much hope. Again, this is why I sort of started to go the backstabbing route. Moving my hero behind and hoping to flank him. Because direct combat, most players will just have me hands down at the game. So playing in unexpected ways, they're just taking out my units instantly. Just playing in unexpected ways and hopefully forcing them to panic and make stupid decisions. That's my hero down to half health through one hit. Great. Yeah. This hasn't made me very happy. Oh man. Fjordus DrKillinger. That's the name of my opponent. Taking his sweet time as he batters my units into oblivion. So all I can hope is that city manages to defend itself and I get enough summoned units and I can pump out hunters 1 a turn. Fast enough by the time he brings down another stack, I'll have another stack ready, but even then you can see how fast my hunters are getting torn apart. The quantity isn't going to help me in this situation, but there's little else I can do. I don't have enough time to sort of start researching for other units. Well, I can start, but I imagine by the time he brings down an army, all I have left is my hero, and he doesn't have that many great things. I can try and charge his hero in a blind attack. He's going to die anyway. So I took his hero out, which is all I hoped to do at the very start anyway, so I suppose I've achieved what I set out to do. But yeah, it hasn't filled me with much hope seeing the abilities of their core units, and they've still got another hero left. To be fair, a lot of flanking's been done in this battle, which will have made them super strong and wouldn't have happened in a city siege all that much. And therefore it's my hero. Just have to live with that, I guess. He had items as well. Okay. I've got a 6 stack here, I could send them up. The problem with sending them up is they're going to be aware of where I am. This river's leading back down to where I came from. This isn't going to let me get across, so I'm going to research seafaring, which will allow me to get across the river, because at the moment I don't have it. I didn't bother to research it because it didn't look like a very watery map. And to be honest, if I hadn't started this tactic, I probably wouldn't have anyway. But tactics have changed, so I have to change accordingly. So he's got 2 6 stacks there. I've got a stack of a 6 and a 4. I am behind city walls, but he still has the upper hand, and he still has very strong units. And he's probably aware of how strong his units are against me now that he's won his battle against me. He's probably sort of getting an idea of how I play. I think he's playing a bit more reserved because he's aware that my leader isn't there. And with him being aware that my leader isn't there, he's aware that there's something else going on behind the scenes. I still think he will think that my leader is sat in a city, which is great. I'm going to send the sticks, blah blah blah, get my words out, this 6 stack up. Tongue twister. I'll continue pumping out units from there. I don't feel great about doing it. The problem with doing it, fair enough, I get another 6 stack up there for defence, but it does make him aware that those 6 stacks are coming from somewhere else, which confirms a city. He probably already assumes it, so strongly assumes it, so there's no harm in me really doing it, well, confirming it at the moment. He doesn't know where it is, although he will know the general direction of where they've come from. So yeah, if I cross this river and sort of move up north, I could probably do, because assuming he's at the end of where that path ends, where I've already explored, I could do with going a bit up north on the water and then coming down from the north. If I just go straight east, he may be there and he may see my attack. I sort of have to be very careful of how I approach. I don't think he'll have many spies in his immediate area because he probably already knows his surrounding lands. Like my surrounding area, I don't have many spies because I know what's there and I know where he's coming from, so I'm concentrating all my abilities on that. I think he will be doing the same. He will be just interested in the link between me and him, and he won't be paying attention to the area behind him, because why would you? You wouldn't expect it. I don't know, maybe he would, maybe he's still exploring over there, but I think with the realisation that I'm here and the realisation that my hero's somewhere else, his focus is going to be concentrated down here. His units have been gits. They're basically within my domain. They're going to be causing a hero. I could probably try and afford it, but what's the point? They're basically going to be causing me a massive morale hit by just being there. They may start to stand on my mines and reduce my income. And he's basically... That's, if I didn't have another city by now, I would be very worried. I wouldn't have these other units coming in. Penguins, man. Penguins. Where's he going? He's going... I'm going to move this up. I'm worried that he's going straight past me just to try and find that other city. I'm thinking that's what he's thinking. He's probably not focusing on my main city too much because he wants to know where my leader is. That knowledge is power. Once he knows where my leader is, he knows where my front city is, and he can start launching an attack. But even if he killed my main city, I wouldn't lose the game because my leader's still out there. So he probably wants to know both before he does anything. I want to bring those extra units in, but they can sit there. Got one more turn for seafaring, so I'll just sit up here. With seafaring, it does take a turn to disembark. That's an independent city. I'm not too bothered about that. I was worried that that was him then. So yeah, it'll take a couple of turns for me to get across the water just yet and sort of figure out where I am and what I'm doing. The problem is I'm doing it blind. If I sort of knew where he was, then I would know how far I need to stay away from land to launch my attack secretly. But I don't know where he is. I could end up just pulling up on land and he could see me straight away, and then the whole plan's out the window. Realistically, the way I'm playing, I probably should have played as rogue. That would suit my tactics to a T, all the backstabbing, but I don't like the rogue class. I don't find them that strong, and normally I don't play these tactics. I've got seafaring now. There we go. They've embarked. So it takes a turn to embark, then I'll be able to move as normal, and then when I hit land again, it'll take another turn to disembark. I'm going to move that unit north. He was originally coming to my city to defend me, but I'm not quite sure what he's up to. I think he's waiting for more units to come down, but I'm summoning a lot at the moment and I'm pumping out a lot of units, and I'm hoping if he sees like loads of stacks in my city, he may kick back and not do a whole lot straight away. He has been a nuisance, but because I'm not hoping to win by brute force, and I've got penguins coming up, which, let's face it, as soon as he sees penguins coming across the horizon, he's just going to leave me well alone. Then, because I'm not playing by brute force, I don't need, well, I don't want to say I don't need to worry about it too much, but I want to give the illusion that I'm struggling whilst I send that stack up there. I probably could have done with more units up there, but it's too late for that now. By the time I manage to move them up there, it's going to be too late. I just need to focus on moving up there whilst he's presumably sending more stacks down here, because I think that's what he's doing in the fog. I think he's got those 2 stacks down here, but there are more on the way, or he is in the process of building more. If he is in the process of building more, that is something I have to be aware of when I launch my backstabbing attack, because those units could be sat in his main city preparing to march out, and I will potentially have to fight them. What I need to do is fight when they've just marched out and take his city down. Where the hell is he going? He's marching out of my city, and that is not what I wanted to see. I wanted him to stick around. Maybe he's regrouping with other units. Maybe it's not all lost. But what I'm worried about is I've got that penguin coming up. And 2 stacks. Well, a penguin could take out 2 stacks easily. I mean, if you've ever messed with a penguin, well, you don't want to mess with a penguin is what I'm saying. But I'm going to send him around here just to sort of... Because he's going to end up coming back to my city and he's going to be like, hang about, where have all they come from? And he won't know what direction they've come from, which works to my advantage because, again, he knows I have another city. I have no doubt that he has that knowledge, but he has absolutely no idea which way. And because it's such a distance, he can be scouting for quite a while. So I've got my ship units. I want to be moving quite slow. Take that out. Baby Kraken's super easy. May as well gain a bit of extra experience whilst I'm up there in preparation. And then I'm just going to have to start inching towards the land. My hero's gone up a level, which is great. And sort of, again, update in such a way that it affects the stack, because I need the stack to be strong. Really, I shouldn't have gone in with 3 heroes. What's that? That's a dwelling. That's a dragon dwelling. Okay. That's okay. I thought that might have been him, but luckily it isn't. I'm thinking if I head west immediately from where I am, I will come across him. Yeah, I'll walk around that. That's not too bad. My units must have mountaineering. So I'm going to... I don't want to go within the area of this dwelling because, I mean, I don't know what the hell that is. But I'm sort of... I need to inch around now because I don't want to just click wildly and run up and then I'll be at his borders and he'll know I'm there. I sort of got to inch everywhere and be very careful. There's his units. He's got another spy drone. I think that spy drone's probably come down to find my other city. I think that's... I've got independents wandering around, but I don't care about them. I've got another 6 stack that can go up. Again, I should probably make them go through the mountains or in such a way that he won't see. I could probably do with keeping him on the city for if he does find my city and launches an attack, but at this moment in time I can only work with what I know. Ouch! That was a group of independents that randomly attacked me. I did not want that to happen. Oh, swines. Okay, so the 6 stack I had up there that was going to launch an attack has now been taken up by a group of idiotic independents. Great. I did manage to beat them, but yeah, I've only got my leader and a hero, so there goes that plan out the window. So, to recap, the only plan I had is now out the window. I have these group of guys going up, sort of getting some intelligence, but they're not strong enough to take anything. That's his. Okay, that's his city. He was actually always direct north of me. I thought it'd be more northwest, but meh. So yeah, I sort of know where he is, but I don't have that army to attack him with anymore. He could assume all my units are down here and have his... I don't care, you're annoying. Too annoyed by being taken out by a bone dragon. Yeah, I could turn up and his cities could be very undefended because he's too busy marching his units against me, but more independent. Let's face it, that's probably not going to happen. Okay. The only thing going for me right now is the fact that he doesn't know where my leader is, and that seems to be preventing any sort of attack. Either that or he's waiting for units to turn up, but either way, even if he does take my cities, which would be a very bad thing, he owns several cities looking at this boundary, and that is a big city. Okay, so he's got a scout and a spy drone sat in what looks like a very big city. That isn't a whole lot. I will wait to see what he will do now, because he could see that my units are suddenly starting to appear and sniff around his area, and suddenly retreat all his forces in an attempt to defend against him. Those 2 units could do something interesting. No, that just leads back to his land. But I don't want to risk it. Again, that's my leader. If he spots my leader in his territory and he does have units there, he could take out my leader, then make a push against my main city, and that would it. My game would be over. And that's what I wish to try and stop. Problem is, I'm not exactly swimming in gold or mana at the moment. That spy drone's just seen my extra units come in, and it's obviously going to try and find out what's happening, which isn't great, but that's the thing. I'm playing. Yep, he has 3 units there. They're probably going to lose. That is his throne city, but yeah, this is within the first 15 seconds. I can't attack. I'm getting too ahead of myself, like I said I would, so I've retreated out of that. And there we go. I'm probably going to get battered here. But if he is aware that his main cities are being assaulted, that may send a bit of fear up him. The issue would have been is that he would have brought more units to defend his main cities, because he would be expecting some sort of bizarre assaults. But I don't have the units to assault him anymore, so I've just got to be an opportunist, and this is all I really have now, which isn't very good at all. It looks like he's got 2 sets of archers and the spy drone thing, which explodes in your face and causes mass horror and death. I've got my 3 sets of units. He's also got magic, which is great. The only thing I can possibly do is charge at the gate and hope for the best. Realistically, I kind of wish I was playing as something like Warlord and be able to use Berserk right now. Try and take out the spy drone before it explodes and kills everyone and causes more damage. But let's face it, this isn't looking too good either way. All I can hope to achieve from this is to whittle him down and then get my leader and my hero in there. But I've learnt the same thing that he has learnt about me, in that his leader is not in his capital. So even if I do take his capital, his leader exists somewhere else and he does not lose the game. I don't know what his spy drone's doing. Maybe it's waiting until I come up to the gate and then explode in my face. I don't think... He has absolutely no reason to save it. He can summon them. Yep. Oh, I can go up the walls anywhere with some of my units. So that's not too bad. Sort of split them apart, so at least if the spy drone does attack me, then at least it can only really potentially take out one stack of units. And I've got them which have archery, so that's alright. And they've got bleeding, which is always nice. So that unit will slowly bleed and lose health. Not a whole lot, not enough to swing the match in my sort of favour, but yeah, it's gonna... Oh, them things... He's gonna have a full army full of them things, isn't he? If he does, that ain't good for me. Why did I have a feeling that do that? He has taken out the gate. Has he taken out the gate? He's heavily damaged it. Might be too little too late, especially with those things shooting away anyway. So I've got him down to 2 units and I've got 3. Although he's still a whole lot stronger than I am, so we'll see how this works. I'm through the gate. That's one good thing. I say there's a lot sort of going in my favour, but it's just the fact that he's stronger and you can't escape from that. I'm not quite sure why they ran up to me when they could have just shot and probably taken me out without taking any sort of hit. So it's not 2v2, it's 2v1. That's great. Tried to throw a net over him, and then at least they'd be stuck on the spot, but it failed. I'm not actually sure. I think throw net doesn't stop range attacks, so that may have been a bit of a stupid decision, but desperation, desperate measures. That's how it goes. And that's pretty much what I'm falling back on now, desperation. I do know where his capital is, and I do have a stack of units just to the west. They are my leader and my hero. I need to send more up there. What I am becoming aware of now is that that spy drone is going to move over and see my other city. What I believe is going to happen off the back of that is he is going to take my other city. So what I need to do is pump out a bunch of units and send them up to meet my leader and my hero, which I do not think he will suspect is there. What I'm going to try and do to muddy the waters is to position him to make him look like he's just come over the bridge, and maybe the spy unit may go a bit up there and waste a bit of time looking around. It may not work, but I don't have a whole lot to work with right now. So yeah, the defending units of that city, if I can make them go north, the units will come over, they will see my city mostly empty, and they will just think, oh well, most of the units have gone over to his main city, so no wonder it's so empty, take it. A bit of a big hit for me. Yeah, they've walked straight past me. They're going straight for my city. I'm going to be an opportunist and go straight down there. I think they may follow me. I am also going to send... That's stacked up there. I'm annoyed that they're just sat there waiting and not doing anything. It feels like a lot of wasted resources where they could be sort of trying to make a difference. But I'm trespassing there. What I can do, I can meet them at the end of the valley. I know his main city is not that far away, and it only had 2 units in it last I left it, which fair enough, he may have reclaimed a bunch of units, but if I've got 2 stacks going up there, the issue is if those 2 stacks go up there and the other stacks start following me, they are going to see my leader and my whole plan is undone, and he knows where my units are. Also, if he starts sending reinforcements down that valley, they will get halfway down and be like, oh, there's a leader there. So yeah, I'm gambling, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't look like he's following me. It looks like he's gone straight for my city. I don't know if that is the case. Maybe he's just realised too late and moved away. Spy drone there. Okay, it's a spy drone. You know what? I'm gonna go for it, I think. I'll move these back, so he will see me moving up the valley, but he'll be too busy concentrating on those units, and he won't be aware that my leader is sat there. Nah. Yeah. Okay. He's cornered me off there. So he's got those 2 troops there. I'm going to move my hero. So he's going to think they're the main 2 stacks. He's not going to expect my hero to be sat there with a leader, just chilling near the river. So he's probably not going to actively hunt for it. He's only seen these 2 stacks of units go up, because they are the only 2 units that actually went up. So he's going to remove them and then probably charge back out, or maybe defend there. He won't think that there's anything else actually up there, because it's his land. He thinks he probably knows anything that comes in and out. He isn't expecting anything to come from behind, like I've just done. They are my secretive units. They are the only thing working in my favour at the moment. Through deception. If I can get something to link up with them, brilliant. But I need to make sure that nothing spies them. I'm sat in an independent area because I know he can't see anything there. Well, there's nothing stopping him walk up. I don't know how this one works. Okay. Because I did have 2 stacks together and I've split them up. This is sort of coming into, if you remember the split stack rule, you're not meant to attack when you move in stacks. But what my intention, my lower one had actually ran out of moves, so I wasn't actually moving them together. So I'm just clarifying that he can attack and he's not in violation of the rules if he does that. Which of course I'm not happy to do, because it means that he's ganging up on my single bunch of stacks, but that's not a violation of the rules. That's my fault for not keeping them together, or, well, I was sort of rushing it, and the other one had additional movement points, so I made him charge up there, even if that did mean splitting my stacks so they weren't walking together. That's a risk I took. It's backfired on me. That sounds like most of the game right now, to be honest. But it's not all lost, because I've got a lot of random things going on the map, and I'm hoping he will be sat there thinking, what the hell is going on? He's about to embark on my second city. I will almost be happy to put money on the table and say, I bet he's charging right towards that city and expecting to see my leader there, and he'll think, nah, I'll charge towards his second city. His leader will be there. I'll kill his leader, then I'll march back and destroy his main city. Game 1. And of course he's going to get there and there's going to be no leader and probably not a lot of units, and he's going to be like, the hell is going on? He's probably going to assume that's quite a newish city, which of course it isn't, but I want to give it the appearance that it was pumping out units just from the main city, and not that they've actually gone into hiding elsewhere. Again, I'm facing against these musketeers and the tyrant through me. He must have loads of them. These were of course the stacks that fought me before, but the sheer fact that he has this many in this stack suggests that they must be fairly cheap to bring out, and of course they're fairly strong. They must be leveled maybe up to veteran. Magic Fist. So yeah, I don't know. Got a lot of wildlife summons. It's not going to be enough to swing it. These hunters aren't really... They're alright, they're cheap, but I think at this point in the game it's too late. I probably should have moved on to other units. Hilarious in hindsight, but... I mean, I could change my tactics, but the problem is I'm going to be spending out several turns pumping out stronger units. He's already surrounded my area. I could probably pump out a bunch of units and position them in such a way that he can't get to the centre of my city straight away. I think I'd only be delaying the inevitable, but I think the bonus and the reason I'm doing it is by having loads of units, he's going to have to spend time fighting them all and running around after him on the map, and that takes his attention away from what I'm actually doing. Yeah, the game isn't really built for people like me to play it like this, but this is how I like my strategy games. I like them to be fairly cloak and dagger sometimes, and sometimes you can pull it off. This is not the way to win a championship, well, a tournament, but yeah, it's worth a shot, and I'm finding it kind of fun, especially in the face of death. Because let's face it, there aren't many other plans I can pull out of the bag right now. He already has the upper hand in everything. He's about to set over city down. There's not a whole lot I can do if I just decided to change my plan right now. There's not a whole lot I can do to suddenly have a massive army and fight him back. He got more magic against me. Got my serpents there, but again, his ranged units are just going to tear me apart. You can see they're just going to flank me and take me straight out. There we go. And that's another one lost. I've only actually won one battle against him so far, and that was with a spy drone. Which is great. Great knowledge. Fills me with a bunch of hope. So I've got that other stack that moved up. He has seen that stack move up. So it's questionable what I'm going to do with that now. I could try and make a charge for his main city. I just need to keep my hero and leader out of the way. I'll need to move them first thing. Because he's going to follow them straight up, and he's not even going to think about going, ooh, I'll just suddenly look left in case his leader's there, because he just wouldn't. So if I move them a bit more out of sight, keep moving them up. The only problem with this is he's going to follow them. Yeah, okay. Hero on a stack of another bunch of annoying people. So, yeah, he's going to end up sending his army back up to attack that. But he's going to think, ooh, that's a desperation move. He's trying to stick a knife in wherever he can. I'm just going to go down and finish him off. If I was making a full-on attack against him, he would have expected it now. So again, I'm sort of playing down the deception route. He's going to see it as a desperate attack. He's going to move up and clear it out, and then going to move back down. He's probably thinking. Again, he's probably in the. He's moved away from the city now, so he may still be thinking that my leader's down in that city. Which is, yeah, I won't blame him for thinking that. He should really send a spy drone down to confirm it, but he's probably just working safe in that knowledge. He knows there's a city down there. He knows I'm not doing too well. He probably thinks my leader's just sat there sort of cowering for his life. They're coming back. He's actually, oh, well, yeah, there's that 6 stack up there. He's probably confident that they could take it out. What I'm going to hope from the back of that 6 stack is that they continue down the valley. Because, let's face it, they're going to beat those units. And, yeah, they're going to beat him, walk down the valley, and he's going to think, yeah, if anything else is coming to attack me, it's going to come up this valley. It's pretty good in that we've got a chokehold point. Because we sort of, all attacks directly between us have to occur in that point. You sort of know if any units are coming down. But there's another spy drone wandering around. He's trying to find my leader. He knows my unit's coming from somewhere, so he's checking both to the right. And he's probably going to send another bunch of units to the left, I guess, but I'm starting to get worried that spy drone is just going to suddenly appear right near where my leader is. So I'm going to send them up. By this point, he all but knows that I have a city down here. There's not much I can do about that. I may as well just start pretending that I'm using it to pump out units and not using it for any other ulterior purposes. He hasn't moved them so far. Wonder if I can launch an attack on his city. Again, I'm just keeping up my reinforces with animals. Yeah, I totally forgot I could summon straight to my hero, because of course he's the one casting. What am I going to do with this? suppose I can do it. 15 seconds is definitely elapsed by now. Ah, that's probably him attacking. Yeah, that's definitely him attacking. See, I kind of don't want to back out. I know it says you can in the rules, but it sort of feels a bit like he spends ages amassing his army around you and moving his units, and then you just walk away. It's sort of like, what's the point? Oh yeah, I don't really fancy this battle right now, I'll go walk somewhere else. It sort of seems to, if someone's going to attack you and you just outwalk them, it takes a bit of a feel out of the game, but I suppose I am hemorrhaging units. So maybe I should probably pay attention to the rules, but that's part of me being... Ah, here we go, fighting me. That's part of me playing Classic too much, where you take turns, whereas this is all happening at once. When you take turns, if someone attacks you, you just have to deal with it, because you don't get a response on their turn. But because it's simultaneous, you can respond to what's happening as it happens, provided you have the movement points. These are the guys that I mentioned before, that are the ranged units that can fire pretty good fire attacks, and yeah, I can take out, well, I can hit several units at once, but they're not that strong. So I'm hitting 2 units at once, putting a bit of pressure on him. It was better than my hunters were. That's the one good thing that's going for him. But I have a full stack of them, so I'd rather have a full stack of them than the hunters at this point against these particular enemies, but I still don't think it'll be enough to sway, especially if his enemies cut through in the same manner that they did with my hunters and just gun them straight down. I'm not doing too well on the mana front, I've just noticed. 0 casting points and 12 mana, not great. Yep, they're still strong against those units. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna have to deal with that. Hopefully they'll all move forward and shoot and position themselves in such a way that I can hit a whole bunch of them in one flame awesome attack, but maybe he'll be a bit wiser than that. Oh look, maybe he won't. So there's at least 3 that I can hit in one attack, provided that he doesn't gun all my units down at once, which is quite likely. Maybe that's why he's doing it. Maybe he's aware that I could attack several at once, but he's thinking that he could take out my units fast enough that it wouldn't make a difference anyway. But it looks like these are moving and not in range to attack at the end of the turn, so maybe not. Got another hero there. That was that orc woman. I think it was an orc woman. Level 5. Yeah, she's coming in now. I could try and hit her with a flame attack, but I mean, there's a stack of 3. I'd rather take down some of these units, but the problem with... oh no, they are within range. He was just biding his time. The problem with the main units is he's probably churning them out at such a decent rate that it won't make any difference. Well, I could get 2 of them and a hero in range. Okay, that time. Let's see what I can get. Yep, I can get all them in range. So that's the hero on 2 of his stacks. And I'll do it again with him. No chance of defeating him, of course, but it's always worth a shot. There we go, they're going to get cut down on their next turn anyway. But at least I've damaged them, and they're probably going to walk down and storm a city. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not 100% that that's what's going to happen. But at least if he does start marching towards my city, he'll be slightly damaged. And of course the hope is that he does march towards my city, and then I can do my counter-assault. Which is looking less and less likely as time goes on. The fight against that bone dragon independence that just came from nowhere up near the dragon dwelling is really sort of knocked that plan on its side, and it probably was quite a good plan to begin with, especially if he only had those few troops defending the city. My 6 stack coming in with my 3 heroes and some decent units would have really changed what was going on. And once I took his city, I would have raised it. It takes 4 turns to raise, and hopefully his main army would be down by my area, and well, they wouldn't be able to move back up in 4 turns, so it depends what else he has up there. But I don't see any point in absorbing it. I think if I managed to raise it, I would, well, he would have to try and find a way to come back from that. And of course, raising, well, the city's gone. If I absorbed it, it's just a matter of fact of sending his own army back and snatching it back off me, and everything's still there and ready for him, which I don't want to do. If it was next door to me and I thought I could defend it, yeah, definitely. But it's all the way over there, and I don't have enough units to sort of take it, to keep hold of it. So it's going to have to be a case of burn everything of his. Here he is. I probably should have looked at this by now. Goblin Dreadnought. Looks like a rather dapper chap. Doesn't tell me anything I don't already know. It's not like I'm going to send him a peace request. That's not going to work out very well. Well, I don't know. We could just do allied victory and go on to win the tournament together as a tag team. I don't think so. I'm fully expecting his units to start marching towards the city again any minute now. So I did start talking about the prizes before. As I say, when I signed up, there weren't any prizes. It was just for fun, and it's to raise awareness of the game. But it has been officially announced by Triumph, who are the developers of the game, that there are prizes for the top 4 players. Like I say, of which I don't believe I will be any, especially judging by the way this game has gone. I would like to think, well, as I said, we've got the bracket of 4. My other opponents haven't actually emerged yet, but if they do, I get at least another 2 games, and if they don't, I automatically go through and I will at least have the next game, and if I lose that, I will be knocked out. So I suppose it just depends on who I go against. I would like to go against the other 2 in my bracket. I wouldn't like to go through to the next tier just because they defaulted, but you know, I'll just accept it as it comes. It just seems a bit out of the spirit of the tournament to... it'd be nice if their places were fulfilled, but yeah, I do hope that they're fulfilled. If they are fulfilled, there's someone more at my level, but that's what happens when you go in a tournament, I guess. So yeah, if you're in 4th place, you basically get a forum avatar. It says a green cup summer 2014, which I'm going to guess is some sort of little icon, and a gift of €40 in Steam or GOG games, which is very nice. I wasn't actually expecting cash prizes in any way, shape or form. And it's very nice of him to sort of do that. You can see I'm sending up a 6 stack now to where my hero and leader are, and I'm hoping to sort of beef them up and launch my final counter-attack and sort of bring this game down. We're on turn 50, so as I say, most games are finished or winding down now, so I'm hoping to bring the end. It's only a matter of time before he assaults my main city. He's obviously got enough units. I think the only reason he hasn't is because he's worried that there's something going on elsewhere on the map, and that's why his spy drones are wandering around, and that's why his armies are wandering around taking me out, because he thinks I'm cooking up a plan. I am, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't think it's the sort of plan that I am actually about to do. Going back on the prizes, 3rd place, Bronze Cup Summer 2014 Forum Avatar and gift of €50 in Steam or GOG games. 2nd place, Silver Cup Summer 2014 Forum Avatar and gift of €60 in Steam or GOG games. And 1st place, which is a very nice selection, you get the Gold Cup Forum Avatar. You also get Age of Wonders free Collector's Edition plus signed poster. I'm going to assume the Collector's Edition is a physical product, because if you already own it on Steam, then what would be the point? Maybe? I don't know. I don't actually know what the Collector's Edition is. If it is the physical product, I don't believe we actually got it over here in the UK. I think it got a bit of a European release. I don't think America got it either. I'm not 100% sure what actually came with it. I think it may have been like some sort of model, or maybe some sort of giant book. I always remember the Shadow Magic game, which I lent out, unfortunately never got back. I should probably ask the person who has it to pass it back. It came with a manual that was as thick as the DVD case and went through all the stats of the units and bits and bobs of the games and the races and the plots. That was amazing. but I don't know if something like that comes as standard with the physical edition. As I say, I don't think there was a physical edition actually released over here in the UK in any way, shape or form, so I'm not that clear about what's actually in it, or if it is the physical edition either, but I'm assuming it is. The other prizes, you get the gift of €100 in Steam or GOG games, which is a very nice prize. All the cash prizes are a very big surprise. The one that was hinted at, and the one I would really like but obviously have no chance of getting, is the named hero in the game. Presumably not just named Bishman or whatever. It'd be sort of Notch in the game as a hero, and he's per Notchson or something along those lines. So presumably you would get your name warped to where that fits in with the game. That would be a very nice prize, and I play it a lot with friends, so it'd be also sort of funny when they say, "Oh yeah, you did win the game, but I was in your army, so technically I won the game," which would get really old after about 2 jokes, but yeah, I get the brag. So yeah, I would really like that, but the chances of it happening are slim, so that's how it goes. I'm just happy to be here playing games online, which I very rarely do. I am already actually credited on the main menu screen. If you sit around long enough, there's a bunch of credits comes up to the beta team, and my name is hidden in there, so I should probably be happy that I'm in the game in some way. But yeah, you can always dream about being in a bit more. So he's my leader and hero, and I've got my 2 wildlife summons. Hopefully by the time he gets near him, I'll be able to have some more summons in there, and then I will have 2 stacks of 6 that aren't really all that strong, but again, if he isn't defending his main cities with much, it's going to be a good stab at it. So he's concentrating on my low cities, I'm concentrating on sort of backstabbing him. I'm just going to have to find out what happens when I'm up there. I'm not too worried about losing my city at this point, either of them, because I know that I am not going to win the game through that route. The bonus of him focusing on my cities means that I can move my other units. Yeah, it's basically to just drive his gaze away from what I'm about to do. It's still a slim chance, but my hope is that he thinks I must have another city down there, because he's got a spy drone, he's got a pretty good idea what's going on. So he'll be looking for my 3rd city, and he's going to spend most of his time assaulting those cities and looking for my leader, which you won't expect to be where it is, especially not coming in with the 2 stacks from behind his main city. The bonus is, of course, I know where his city is. Unfortunately, it looks like he has several cities, so that's another reason why I know I can't really win by brute force, because he has a lot more resources than I have. That's partially my fault for not expanding as fast, but it also has been a struggle for me to find cities. It looks like, I don't know if he's founded them ones up there himself, or I took my watchtower, or if I'll start moving these north just in case the spy drones begins coming up that way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a turn anyway for the draconian units to embark, but move them out of the way at least if the spy drone comes across the draconians. And there's another penguin. You'll be fearful of the penguins. So yeah, there's the spy drone on the edge of my territory. It's only a matter of time before that city falls now. That's fine. He's going to end up moving his whole army towards there. Well, alright, not a whole army, but a big chunk of the army in order to take it and to whittle me down and to eliminate another area where my hero could be. I've never actually fought a battle on this terrain in my whole time of playing. What a pretty terrain. He's surrendered straight away, of course. It's not going to deal enough damage to me. They're all ranged attackers. It's a battle that would just waste time, and this match has waged on for quite a decent amount of time. That's partially my fault. I am a slow gamer in these sort of games. I do take my time. I do like my expansion and my empire building. This isn't really a game about empire building. This is a game about war, and that's my own damn fault for playing too much Civilization when I was younger. But yeah, that's what I get out of the game, and some people get annoyed by it. They go, "Oh, you're taking too long," etc. I don't agree too much. If someone is taking too long in any game, you find a way to break them. You adapt to their tactics, like I'm adapting to his tactics now. I know he has the upper hand. I could just try and wage war on war, but what's the point? I'm only going to definitely lose if I do that, rather than this way, in which I'm only going to possibly lose, which is both sound as grim as the other. It annoys me that in the past 30 turns maybe, my domain hasn't changed in the slightest. I've done a very poor job. There was that city up to the right, but there was no way I could have got units up there and took it, and also not lost my main city when he came sniffing around. So maybe I took the better of two choices. But overall, I think I'm spread too thin now, and I didn't, even though I thought I was building up quite fast, and I was pumping out a lot of summoned units and building cheap units. I wasn't ever building strong units, which has gone against me, and now I'm going to do this attack with fair enough 2 6 stacks, but they're not stacks with much strong in it. I've got my hero and my leader, but nothing else, and I can't even remember what level my hero is. My leader's a decent one. I know he's gone up a couple of times, but the units have all been freshly built, and they've been built from cities where there hasn't been any sort of upgrade done on the basic units, so they are just basic units. I'm starting to think, well, alright, I'm not starting to think, I think I knew this from quite a while, but I'm starting to know that this isn't looking too good in my favour. I'm just moving north now, and I'm trying to do it in such a way that he definitely doesn't see me. I sort of know where his area is. I mean, when I approach him, he's going to know I'm coming, but the idea is I want to do it at the last possible moment where he will know and hope that he has no units near. What I'm worried about when I disembark is that there is another set of independents wandering around, especially if you were paying attention to earlier that the dragon dwelling kept offering me quests, and like an idiot I was accepting because I kind of thought if there's independents roaming around it may attack any units he has up there. The problem is he probably hasn't gone up there, and those units are probably still walking around unless the quest has ended, which I can't quite remember if it has. So I've just got to be wary that they don't appear. There's that eagle thing there, but that's protecting that area, and because it's on a building thing, it's not going to move anywhere. It's too busy protecting that. There's the giants. They're the ones that I got the mission to kill, so I'm going to move away from the mainland. Yeah, I was sort of hoping what happens is the independents give you quests, as you saw what happened with the draconian city that I'm about to lose. They give you quests and they basically say there's a unit walking around, can you kill it? And if you do, we'll either give you a unit or we'll give you our city. Because it's a dragon dwelling and that's quite desirable, the units it creates are very, very hard. But by accepting the quest, it spawns the independents on the map, which freely wander around until, well, I think it's about 10 turns until you kill one, which is, you have 10 turns to complete the quest. During that time, the independents could walk into your enemy, and then your enemy would be forced to attack them. And if they do, you fail the quest because you never completed it, but the point is I would be forcing my enemy into attacks that you probably wouldn't want to be a part of. And let's face it, a bunch of giants coming over his lands and battering him would only work well in my favour. But of course they're still there, they're still walking around near dragon territory. I don't know how far they're wandering around a bit, but they're preventing me from disembarking, which is a nightmare. I'm just going to spawn a unit. You can't spawn on water in case you spawn something that can't swim, obviously. I do have my seafaring, but I'm guessing the spell doesn't take that into consideration. He's now coming for my second city, and it's only a matter of time before I can try and do a bit of damage to him, but I'm going to lose it. And this is what I've got defending over here, which is a considerable amount. with some decent creature units. I'm going to send this up there just to scout the way. I'm throwing it to the fire. The reason for it is by sneaking up there I'll be able to see what's happening before I send my units in. So if there's no units around, he's going to go, oh well, he just sent a serpent up and he didn't manage to do it. He's obviously just looking before he sends more units up that way, and he probably has spy units looking up the way anyway. Or maybe they're down here. It looks like they're still hunting around down this area. He's probably going to start manoeuvring around my city any moment now. Probably this turn. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually attacks me this turn. My heroes just sat in my city going up levels. Yeah, if I move my serpent up there, so I can see if there's any stacks coming down. And if there's stacks coming down, there's his spy unit. If the stacks coming down, then that means that he's moving more of his armies down in a preparation to take me out, which means that he has less up there to defend himself. Yeah, he's surrounding me now. I could try and embark just south, but the problem is if he's moving units, he may spot me. I really want to approach from the north. I suppose I could go explore the north, but the problem is I don't want to waste time now. Waste time that I really need to spend assaulting him. I don't have a whole lot of time left. What will be an issue is that he's probably pumping out a lot of units in preparation to go down and take me out. They're probably going to be sat in his units before marching. While he's creating stacks of 6, so if he only has like a stack of 4, they're going to be beside his city, and I'm probably going to have to fight them. But here we go. There's the edge of his city. That's actually the edge of his main city, so I can charge straight into it, so that's alright. I will be just beyond his border. I'm assuming he doesn't have a watchtower. So he won't see, he'll be, as you can see with mine, you can only see like one space beyond your border, so he shouldn't have seen those units, if I'm correct. I wouldn't be surprised if he attacks me now. Do I want to raise it? It takes 4 turns, he's going to attack me within that time, and I would only take a morale hit, which should cause even worse situation in the battle. So here's my next attack. He's going to attack that. Whilst he's doing that, I can move my units up north. Hopefully he won't even notice. What do I want here? Stoning. Stoning's alright. It's, yeah, you throw stones at an enemy. Well, you summon stones. I could do with a couple more of them in battle, but the problem is I don't have enough casting points anyway. So I'm going to move these in now. I can't reach his capital straight away, so it's going to take another 2 turns. He's only got 3 units on there. So 2 6 stacks against his 3 units behind a stone wall. Unless there's another stack. No, there isn't another stack next to him. Okay, brilliant. He's going to assault that. Hopefully he won't have noticed what's just going on there if he's too busy counting down his 15 seconds. I'll move this up north just again to scout to see if there's anything coming up to reinforce. Doesn't look like there is. I may be able to get away with this, but again, his hero isn't there. There were only 3 stacks of core units. Ah, okay, stack of 5, not into the world. Still my stack of 6. I need to wait until next turn to actually get him in place to attack. I've got to hope there's nothing close enough within that time. Ah, there's more units coming up. Stack of 4, a 5 and a 4. And they're all shooters on the walls. Okay, that isn't all that great. Okay, that isn't what I wanted. I don't have any way to sort of give it a morale hit or anything. I'm going to lose this city. That city's well prepared. He now knows where my leader is. So this isn't all or nothing situation. He's bringing another 1 as well. I'm not going to wait for that to come up. Has it been 15 seconds? I haven't been paying attention. I believe it has. let's face it, if he has anything that would come in, he would have moved it by now, so there's no harm in waiting a bit longer just to not be in violation of the rules. And here we go. So, yeah, alright, I'm attacking with a fair chunk of an army, but all of his are shooters, and I've got to breach his walls. It's going to be close. What I generally do with city assaults like this is split up my army, so one will go to the leftmost door, one will go to the rightmost door, and I'll just leave the middle door free. So I'm forcing his army to split up. Whether it gives any sort of an advantage, not really. It just sort of creates two different things. And if he manages to beat my army on one side, he's got to spend a couple of turns marching his troops back over to the other side to reinforce them. It's basically just making sure that he doesn't have everything in one spot concentrating fire on me. As I suspected, marching all his units to the end of the walls, he's just going to be shooting down on me. I only have 10 mana. I probably could have done with a bit of mana usage. If I was a sorcerer, I would have had better spells to maybe sort of swing this battle. And as I say, if I was the warlord, I could have used berserk, and that would have been brilliant against these troops. But all I have is my my stoning. I think I can't even remember what the other one was. Oh, it was the fawns coming up from the floor. I have stone skin. That basically gives a boost of defense. But that's only delaying. I need to weaken him. I'll save it. If I can finish someone off with the vines, then that'll be good. I have a lot of flamers in this battle. That's the one good thing. I can shoot up with the flamers and take out. Obviously, all his units are grouped at the top of the walls, so I can try and take a bunch of them out with flamers. As we saw in my last battle, the flamers aren't that strong, but maybe that'll force him to think about spreading out his units in hopes of not having him get hurt too much, and by spreading them out, he'll be a lot less effective against me. But at the moment, they're all grouped together. Maybe that's just because he hasn't considered it. So if I move these forward and attempt to... I'm not going to be able to flank them, but... at least if I can split them up, might help a little. Yeah, probably not all that much. Try and evenly divide my troops that are heading forward. Of course, the only problem with this is I'm going to have to batter down 2 doors. But of course, if I sent them all in one door, you basically get a chokehold point where you can only get one unit through the door at a time, and whilst those other units are firing down at me, it's going to be a nightmare. So there's pros and cons of doing it either way. I'm not saying mine's necessarily the right way. I'm losing the game, so I'm not saying a whole lot of anything I'm doing is the right way, but this is the way I've chosen to do it. They'll be able to concentrate less fire on me, but of course there'll be less units either side, so it sort of pans out either way. I don't have enough mana to cast magic, which would probably be changing the tide of this battle a bit. Maybe not necessarily winning it, but I'd definitely be able to massively... I'd potentially be able to destroy the doors, but yeah, that's not going to happen. So it's his turn to move. Seems to be biding his time. I wouldn't be surprised if he hits me with a battle magic. He's just positioning his troops ready to open fire. Yeah, as I thought, surrounding the doorway, so whilst I have to wait to batter down the door, he'll be there, just shooting away from the top of the walls. As I say, I do have a couple of ranged units, but I want to really be getting those doors down and able to get my units through. As you can see, he's starting to divide up a bit, but I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference in the long run. taking a lot of time to think about it. I can't quite tell if that's just the game or if he's trying to figure out some sort of battle plan. As you can see, he's concentrating his units right around the door, so when I do get up to that chokehold point, he'll be concentrating his fire fully on my units, presumably the ones trying to batter down the door and my heroes. Of course my leader is in this battle, so he'll probably be concentrating quite a lot of fire on that. If I lose this battle and my leader goes down, I have no doubt that his units will be moving towards my capital. And of course if they take my capital down in the 3 turns, that'll be it. I'll be out of the game and I'll have lost. Can't quite tell if it's the loading times that have slowed this down. Ooh, flashbang. Not quite sure what flashbang does. So I've got a bit of casting points. I can't use them on the doors, can I? No. So I'll use them on the units, try to whittle them down. He's quite lightly defended on the left gate, so I'm thinking if I go all out on it with my magic, I might be able to break through, and then if the others still haven't broke through the door and they're still receiving heavy fire, the others that do break through this door will be able to flank them. My spiders can climb up the wall, so they'll be able to flank. There's my penguins going in. They're certain to change the war. I wouldn't be too surprised if the penguins come out alive. Penguins are pretty much awful, by the way, just in case you're wondering. It's just the fact that there's penguins marching around that just make it all the more interesting. Here's my ranged draconian flamers. All his units quite closely stacked together, so I can hit a few at once, which works quite nicely in my favour. It's his own fault for stacking them right close to each other. That's what the flashbang does. It induces blind, which means that he cannot fire. Well, he can only fire directly in front of himself, and as it affects all the spaces around him, around the place where he hits, he'd actually be damaging himself, I believe. And of course any other of my units that are nearby. So the blinded unit I'm probably just going to have to use to either climb up the wall and attack. I'm not quite sure if these have wall climbing. I believe may be able to. But he might just have to make a beeline for the gate and try and batter down that scene, as he's absolutely useless in terms of being a flamer now. Meanwhile, whilst that's happening, I'm just going to continue attacking with flame hits and just trying to whittle them down, which is working quite well in my favour. I think obviously with having so many flamers about and being able to hit so many units at the same time, fair enough, it isn't a heavy hit, but it's enough to start whittling them down, and because it's several units at once, it really does start to make a difference. He's still got a couple of units near that middle gate. I think they may be moving over towards the right gate. Just try and position everything ready for when I start moving in. I don't want to move them all too close and just sustain loads of fire damage at the start of the next turn. So I'm just keeping them slightly out of range at the moment. See who he can hit now. So he's shooting down at my flamers, and again taking most of them out. Those musketeers are just an absolute nightmare. Then my blinded units down, well, mostly down. That's not too bad, because with blind I have no way to dispel it. I don't know if it's a certain amount of turns that it has it on, or if it's for the rest of this battle, but that unit is pretty much useless to me now. And they're just picking off my units. And this is what I was hoping wasn't going to happen when I started originally, but this is where I am now, and this is the only plan I had, so I'm going to have to go with it. Now, retreating out now would be daft, as all I can do is go forward. Thing is, with such limited magic, it's perhaps I can make a difference, but all I've got to rely on is my troops now. And is that the end of his turn? That's the end of his turn, so it's back to me now. So if I'm running quite low on units already, so it's a case of, do I try and burst the gate down, or do I try and pick them off with all my ranged attackers, which I think most of my attackers down here do have some sort of ranged ability. I'm thinking maybe at this gate focus on ranged, at the other one where there's only the 2 stacks of enemy creatures, maybe trying to break down the gate, and then if they can break through they may be able to flank if there's anything left over this far right gate by that point. I can get the spiders up the walls, as you can see they've gone up there, try and get some melee on, but the flamers just continue doing ranged attacks. You can see hitting 4 units there, which isn't doing him too nicely. As you can see, he isn't a massive fan of that. So yeah, we've only got the 2 groups of units over in this gate, so it makes sense to sort of make a run for it, I guess. Naturally I've got penguins, so they'll make short work of it. I've got my leader over here. I can't be too defensive with my leader. I need to get him in there and get fighting same as everyone else. The leader, we either win this battle or we don't, and the leader is irrelevant. No, go penguins. And it's back over to him again. I haven't managed to breach the walls yet, although I'm close to doing so, but he's probably going to be able to gun down everything that started to climb the walls at the moment. It's probably a bit too late, but he's outnumbering me in terms of unit. Well, I think he was outnumbering me at the start of the battle, if I remember correctly anyway, so that's not too surprising, but he's taken out more. I don't think I've actually taken out any of his groups of units yet, so I think, well, it is looking bad for me, to be honest. He's probably just going to start taking pot shots at me, and yeah, there goes my spiders. They were the ones that were halfway up the wall. Would have been able to get a flank attack if they'd gone up. And there goes them. Penguins live to see another day, however. And what's happening over at the other gate? Flashbang, so yeah, they're not going to be able to do flame breath. They're probably going to have to go for the gate. Penguins don't have any sort of range attacks, so they're just going to have to go straight for the gate again. Whilst, oh, they survived. So the serpents survived. They have like an acid attack, but it's not a whole lot. My hero's about as well, so I'll use a range attack with him. My leader, even, not my hero. My hero's over on this side. I haven't got enough mana to do anything, although I've got the casting points. My spiders managed to make it to, well, they're attacking from the wall, but they've taken the units down there, although I have a strange feeling they'll get gunned down on the next turn. Yeah, my flamer is blind, so they're probably just going to have to go straight for the gate, I guess. Although, to be honest, by the time they've broken it down, I could do that. Yeah. So basically, even though I had blind, I was choosing to attack the hex in front because it would hit several other of the opponent's units, even though it would also hit my own. Not the most ideal situation, but sort of stuck for solutions at the moment. I need to start dealing. If I don't continue to deal damage to him, he's just going to get the top of me. There's my spiders almost down. That's my last group of spiders. And this is probably going to be it for them. Yeah, not quite sure why I went in for the melee, but it did the job either way. Probably going to pick off the last Draconian Flamers. That's correct. That, if I'm correct, only leaves my hero, my leader, and my penguins. And they're coming through the front gate now. They don't even care about... Oh no, I've got a stack of Draconian Flamers. But they don't care about defending. They know they've got the upper hand. And I think he knows full well that if my leader falls on this, then it's just a case of assaulting my main city, and it's a case of whether I can defend that or not. I'm thinking maybe I can't. In fact, I'm pretty confident I can't, because I know he's going to have units left over from this. I don't have anything else left in the north. I've lost my other city. All I have left is in that one city I have left. Penguins have breached the door. but it will be another turn until anything can actually come through the door, which will probably be my leader at that point, because I'm assuming they're going to gun the penguins down, which is a bit cruel. Never trust a penguin killer. But yeah, the amount of stacks that I've seen him moving around, I know I'm outnumbered. This was pretty much my last ditch attempt. I'm outnumbered here as well, and it doesn't look like I'm going to win. I'm going to pull my hero back. This is a desperation move. They're coming through the front gate. My hero would have to fight the ones on the ground whilst being shot at by the ones on the wall. Wouldn't stand a chance, would get torn to shreds. So hopefully penguins live to see another day. Penguins aren't dead yet. If I can pull the hero back, make him go through around the other door and maybe fight everyone behind their walls. But I mean, by the time he moves over that, and they'll probably get, like, they're following him now, they're probably going to be able to get a couple of pot shots, and they're going to be flanking shots. They may just finish him off straight away. Even if he did manage to get through the other door, it would have jigged onto what I was doing and potentially move over with me. But as I say, desperate times, desperate measures. There's not a whole lot else I can do at this point. I'm just trying to spread his troops a bit thin, so maybe I could pick them off. But by the time I start fighting with one, the rest are all going to catch up and start picking at me. Right, back over to me now. So the penguins are through, so if I send the lone penguin, gets a flanking attack, but... oh no, there's two penguins, but the penguins have died now. My hero can't make it through the gate, so just going to take a few pot shots. And there's a stack of units down, so that's alright. Try and regroup my hero with my leader. These are now the last two, I believe, left. Yep, they're the last two. If I can group them together, maybe I can, I know, charge together, but it's not going to make a shred of difference, I don't think. These may even catch up to me and get shot in. Yep, they have. Wasn't enough to kill though, but I may have to face them on the next turn. It looks like their movement points are about the same, so they're probably going, every time I move, they're probably going to be able to get shot in, so I think it's going to be a case of facing them. The amount of units moving around there, he's got absolutely no chance. I was hoping maybe he could get in a situation where he could sort of like draw them out and pick them out one by one. Still wouldn't have been able to win the match, I don't think, but it looks like I'm going to have to face and take him on as a horde now. And I think this will be back over to me after this unit's move. Oh no, we've got this gate to do. There's only one set of units over at that gate, which are now facing my leader. But I mean, even if I do manage to break through, there's still all the units out on the battlefield. The leader won't be able to take all them out. So I'm going to attack these face on with my hero, because that's all I can do. Almost take him out, but not quite. Probably going to get gunned down on the next thing. Move my hero into my leader into the gate, and I can't move close enough to attack, so I'm going to do a ranged attack, and it's back over to him. Yeah, there's my leader taking damage. Here's my hero, probably going to go down this turn. Yep, there he goes. So now it's just down to my leader, and all the units will start moving towards him. He's going to be he's outnumbered in the battle in general, but he's going to be immediately outnumbered in his area. And back over to me. Try and take these out with my leader. Yep, there's one down, but I'm heavily damaged. That's probably about third health left. Back over to him. Here's another set of units, probably going to take a pot shot. Yep. And I'm down. So that was my backstabbing attempt. That was, I don't know, maybe if I'd done it a couple of turns before or a couple of turns after, he wouldn't have had those units there. But I can't think like that. I had no way of knowing. Maybe if I'd had some spy units to keep an eye on him, but my fear was that by having spy units, he would be keeping units close to home and defending against him. I wanted to give the illusion that there was nothing up there for him to worry about and put him in a false state of security. I haven't lost this city yet. It's still a case of going through the motions with it. I could repel the attack on it. And if I could, that's 2 pretty big stacks I've taken out. So this is a reverse situation of the one that I've just gone through, where I'm now defending the city. And I'm full of... yeah, I've got flamers. Got less flamers than I thought I had, but I can start attacking immediately because they've got really good range. I can only hit 1 unit at the moment, but it's enough to start off with, and he's going to have to move up to me. The only thing is, they're the only 2 range units I have. The rest are probably going to have to move onto the battlefield. I don't want to do that just yet, but most of his attackers are ranged attackers. They don't necessarily have to breach my walls. He could just shoot from the outside, and it wouldn't be ideal, but he probably could win that way. He's got 3 spy drones coming in over there. They're probably just going to run up to me and explode, I reckon. I don't really have... well, I do have a ranged unit over that end, but I don't really want him concentrating on that, so is it a case of I just throw a bunch of melee units at it and... well, I might have to spread them thin, and hope that by spreading them thin, not too many take damage. So my hope is for this turn he wastes most of it just moving forward, and that's enough for my flamers to then start taking out groups of them that are near to each other, and for my melee units to start coming through the gates. I don't know if I'll bring my melee units straight through the gates or if I'll wait for another couple of turns for them to get closer, but I think the problem is they're not going to get too close to my walls. They're going to remain a slight bit back and open fire. He's got a hero on there as well, level 5 hero. He's got 2 heroes, there's another level 5 hero as well. Overall he's quite strong. I think we're probably about evenly level in terms of how many units, but he's probably beat me in terms of how strong those units are. In fact, there's no probably about it, it's a definitely. Because I've just been through a battle and I exhausted all my mana, I don't have any magic for any ability to use magic in this battle, which is a massive hindrance. So I'm concentrating my flamers attacks on those areas, and I don't really know what else to do here. I guess I'm going to have to meet him on the battlefield. Because the ranged attacks, the only thing I can do is get straight out there and get stuck in. If I try and stay there, they're probably going to get an attack in me on the next turn. So I would rather get an attack whilst I'm charging at them, rather than have to spend an additional turn moving forward because I didn't bother to this turn. And I'm going to move some over to this end, just to be aware for when these spy drones come over, they can deal with them. They should survive at least 1 or 2 of the explosions, it's just the 3rd that I'm a bit worried about, and if they die on the 2nd one, then that's a 3rd that could come round and flank cover units. I'm not actually sure if the spy drones actually have any attack, or if they can just explode. I have a strange feeling they can just explode. Here are his units shooting up at my flamers, making quite short work of them. They're probably going to be dead this turn, which is a shame because I was hoping he'd concentrate on my units on the ground. I suppose the one good thing about this is I'll potentially be able to flank some of his units. They're down with the cast of a magic fist. So I've got 1 set of flamers left. I'm having a strange feeling, yep, he's going to concentrate all his firepower on that. And it looks like down they go. Yep. Nope, 1 still stands. Probably going to be down with this one. Yeah, so there goes my flamer. So no more flamers, all down to melee units now. That's not looking good for me, but everything that has a ranged attack, save for his 2 heroes, are now very close combat. I can try and position things in order to get flanking in, but even then his melee units, his shooting units are still incredibly strong. And there we go, there's a set of mine down already. And in come his heroes, they're probably just going to take range shots, yeah, just from a distance. They're not going to get involved with the close combat, I don't think. And it's back over to me. So if I try and flank, that's the only way that I'm probably going to be able to change my fortunes in this battle. I didn't actually manage to fully kill off anything there. See, the problem with this is I'm going to flank these, but I'm also going to leave myself open to a flank attack next. But just for the sake of getting it done. No, that's alright, got one set down there. Just need to be aware of those spy drones. Not actually go to meet them. If I only have one unit, there's only ever one unit that can be affected by the explosion. Oh, maybe they can attack them. And it's also getting flanking attacks on me and exploding, which is exactly what I didn't want. I suppose only one set of units was affected by that, so it's not the worst thing ever. And is that the end of his turn? Nope, still more to move. Moving in for a flanking attack. These are the ones that I said would be leaving themselves open. I had no choice in... well, I did have a choice, but this seemed like the better choice at the time. And there's about two sets of units down. Those ones that are left have no hope of taking anything down there. And there's this hero just picking me off. Yeah. I think they're all suffering morale damage as well from my lead dying, so they're going to be underperforming. I'd probably still be losing if they weren't, but it's just making it even more painful. And he's got that hero skirting on the edges, just firing it. Not quite sure why he's bringing them in from melee. If I was him, I would have just shot, but maybe he figures they're weak enough. So it looks like this will be the fall of my second city now. All I can hope is to damage his troops enough so when the assault on my main city comes in... There goes one of the other spy drones. Yeah, when the assault on the main city comes in, that he'll have less troops. But as it's looking, I'm taking some of them down. At least I'm doing a bit of damage here. It's just a case of whatever I attack, I'm going to leave myself open for a flanking attack, and that's probably going to be the end of that set of units, so it's only prolonging the inevitable. And back over to him. You wouldn't be surprised if he picks me off this turn. Spy drone's still going. And there falls that set of units. There's my other set of draconian units almost down. And that is them down. And they're going to get flanked by the hero. Probably flanked, depending on who they attack, potentially flanked by the other set. Yeah, that's another set down. The other lot can flank. No, it wasn't a flank, but it still killed them anyway. And I think, is this my last set over by this gate? Horribly outnumbered. Take out the spy drone, but it also kills myself. And I think that's the end of that. Yep, that's that battle over. So that's my city lost. And I already know he has, what, 2 off, potentially 3 cities up there. I have the 1. He has the greater army. My sneak attack failed. There's not a whole lot that I can do now. Except wait and hope I can push him off long enough to change something, but I don't think it's going to happen. I've taken too many hits. I don't have a large enough army. It's a shame that that stealth attack just didn't work. I don't know if it was badly timed or if I should have gone in with more units. I mean, I could have gone in with more units, the units that I sent to take over my main city, I suppose. I could have used them instead, and I could have been sending them north the entire time, but it's not worth thinking like that anymore. I need to think about the situation that I'm in now, and I can't concentrate on plans that failed. I can only concentrate on things that I could potentially do. It amazes me looking at this just how close we were, really. Where I thought it was at the top left of the map, but really he was just a fair bit north. And I'm assuming he would have known that I was the opposite side, because it depends how fast he managed to get those spy drones out. So this is everything defending my capital now, my throne city. I've got this unit over here, but that can't do anything. Notch comes to me, but it's too late, Notch. I'm sorry, mate. You can't save me now. Gonna send that unit back. It's not exactly gonna change anything. It's not a powerful unit, but it's gonna do more at home. I'm gonna accept this quest, because by accepting it, as I said before, shoves independence on the maps. Enemy might have to deal with that, turns his gaze away from me, but I don't have enough units here to change anything. You can see a spy drone coming back over just to sort of make sure nothing's changed. He knows my leader's down for a good couple of turns. Comes back next turn, actually, I believe. But he's going to be in my capital, and he knows that if he assaults my capital and takes my capital and kills my leader, that's it, game over. Just waiting for him to finish his turn. I assume he's moving his whole army towards me now. All I can do is sit and wait. The units I have aren't even really that strong. I'm producing units. I can't really summon anything because I don't have enough mana, but I'm producing enough per turn. But yeah, it's not enough. Notch is there just watching me, laughing at my failures. At least if I bring this unit down, I might be able to see if his units are moving in. They'll probably be coming through at about the same time that comes through, so I'll know when the attack's coming. But he's got that spy drone on me, so it's just a matter of time. He knows exactly what I'm doing. He knows what's left in my city. I don't have any secrets left anywhere on the map, and I largely suspect he realises that. After all, it was my leader out there, and even if I did have secrets left out there, it would be a fair attempt to assault my city by now. So, unfortunately, as boring as it is, this is just a waiting game now. And all I can do is sit and produce units and wait until he appears, and if I manage, I guess my only plan is if I manage to propel his attack, take all my units and march them north. Well. And there's another, that's a hero, I don't think. Just thought that's another set of units from God knows where. So my hero's back, but I dare say it's going to make a difference. Notch has vanished, he decided I'm too boring to watch. There's another set of units coming down. Barely had time to react to that one. I'm just going to surrender, there's no point fighting this. Let's face it, they'd just pick me off with ranged units, and even if I did get close I won't be able to do any damage to them. So I know his units are right there. So yeah, as I say, if I can, I've got a walled city and I've got a full couple of stacks of units, so hopefully if I can push him back enough, I can just send everything at him. I'll have to lose my throne city, but the problem is if my leader dies in that battle and I leave my throne city undefended, then all he has to do is walk in and that's game over for me. You've got a whole bunch of these musketeers coming over. I'll have lots of them to deal with soon. I don't have a whole lot of ranged units because obviously I've lost my draconian city. I probably could have done with producing some, but it's too late for that now. You can see him just sitting on the edges waiting. I could try and cast a spell that makes it a land type that they don't like to give them a morale hit, but let's face it, it's not gonna change much. And I'd have to do it on my own city anyway, which I'm not quite sure you can with any of these. No, you can't. It's only on the surrounding area, and with the battle taking place on my city, it's not going to do a whole lot. Every day every turn, he sits on my borders, I'm still producing units, which is one good thing in this situation. Summon Eldritch Animal. I've basically been getting wolves and stuff so far, it's nothing too interesting. Maybe if it was the Eldritch Horror, yes, but I don't have that. There's my city, one's mine, under its new ruler. And you can see them all just sitting at the edges waiting to charge forward. Not quite sure what they're waiting for, reinforcements perhaps, or just trying to make sure that nothing's going to change inside. There's my Eldritch Animal. So that's 3 stacks of 6, but they're not great stacks of 6. I've been saying that throughout the full game and it's been an issue the full way. I'm not quite sure if I'm just playing Archdruid wrong, or as I say, I may just be playing the game wrong, which is slightly worrying. because definitely in some of the play-by-email games that I used to play in Shadow Magic, I wasn't horrible. I could quite comfortably come in somewhere in the top half sometimes, depending on how well I managed to establish myself. But this is just, I'm doing no good here. So these are his stacks coming in. Looks like they're preparing themselves. 3 against 3. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually pulls some more down. That's what he may actually be waiting for, to make sure he can get enough troops in to change his ability to take me down. Because I wouldn't say it'd be closely matched. I reckon he could probably take me out with those 3, but he probably wants to just make sure it's definite, rather than have to come back with 1 stack of 6 by the time I've built myself up. And then we're going to be signing a slog match. We're already on, what's that, turn 64? Yeah. In fact, it's more than that. Get more units in. I'm hoping he'll see I'm getting more units in and try to make a desperate attack, because it's going to get to the point where we won't be able to attack everything that's there in one big fight. So you may have to split it up into several fights, although I think he's just going to position himself to attack straight from our centre anyway, which would be the obvious choice. He's trying to drain my mana so I can't summon any more units. Good attempt. I could try and change the land underneath one of those things and give them a bit of morale hit, but they're not going to be fighting on there, so it's not going to do a whole lot of good. They're going to have to move off back onto this wetland, and as far as I'm aware, goblins don't mind wetland. So all I can sit and think is, at the moment, he's waiting for his reinforcements to come down that valley. Just waiting on him to finish his turn, seeing as he's taking so long. He's either casting... No, there we go. He's either casting magic or he's waiting for his troops to come down. I can still cast a couple of creatures, so that's not too bad. The longer he waits, the more I'm going to have. I honestly don't think me having more is going to change much, but at least it'll make me look a bit more intimidating, and he may... well, if he rethinks about assaulting me, I'm not quite sure where we'd go from there, because I don't really have the ability to do anything at this point. I'm not quite sure what's taking so long here. As I say, I can only imagine it is movement of units at this point. Empire, well, I suppose he wants to make sure in case anything strange happens he's prepared for it, but adjusting his empire, I've got my leader in this city. He's pretty much got me. He's occupying my creation node, so that's limiting the amount of mana I'm getting. Not that I was getting a whole lot to begin with anyway. Not quite sure where they're going. Regrouping with something maybe? I'm going to guess something is going to come out and join with them from just beyond where I can see, and then they're all going to march in together. That's all I can imagine he's doing. I'm hoping he's not retreating and going home, because I don't quite see what the point would that be. He's got his chance to take me down now. If he rejects it, I won't be able to get strong enough anyway, and we'll just be sat for countless turns whilst I'm trying to get my strength back, and then he comes back in. He's stronger than me now, so even if I did manage to get stronger, he would also be getting stronger at the same time, and nothing's going to change there. Got another hero that's coming. Again, I don't have enough money. Don't have enough mana to cast anything. This waiting game is just killing me. I've lost turns ago. I think he's just making sure he does a thorough job of it. Just wait for him to finish his turn now. As you can see, there was a point where I only had 3 stacks in my city, and because he spent so long, I've now got 4 stacks. And I suppose he's waiting for reinforcements, but maybe the only reason he was waiting for reinforcements for the first time was to try and beat me in units. But the more he delays, the more units I'm going to get. Fair enough, I'm not going to get anything overly strong, but he's still going to have to fight through them. Just waiting for him to finish his turn again. I'm clicking up and no response. Yeah, there we go. Must have been stuck on mine for some reason. Getting another quest, make some more giants spawn. I don't think they're going anywhere near him. I think they must stay within the domain of that city. So that's 4 stacks of 6 now. I'm actually outnumbering him now in terms of the units that he's got just north of me, but I'm assuming he's waiting on more. That's all I can assume. I could go and try and attack with the 4 that I had, but 1, he could just walk around me and charge straight into my city, and well, 2, I really want to be fighting from behind my stone walls. Gonna try and generate some mana in hopes of spawning more wild beasts, seeing as I only have the 1 income structure given me at the moment. And again, just waiting for his movement. I can only assume it's something with quite slow movement coming down. It's not like it has that far to go. unless all this time he's been building up another stack and has to move it down. I suppose that's what could be taking the time. But again, if he has to go through building a stack, then at the same time I'm going to be building stacks. It won't make a difference. We're still going to go in with the same amount of troops. Although, as I say, he may attack in such a way that he's got a spy drone going around there. Maybe he's just making sure I don't have any other units waiting, as if it may be a trap. But if it was a trap, I wouldn't have my leader in my main city, because he could just assault me now and win the game. Just moving stuff so I can have the wild animals in my stacks closest to my city, so at least when the assault does come, they'll be included in the fight. So I've got far too many units now. It's going to get to the point when he does assault me, some of the units aren't going to be included. Failing my quest, but it's not like I was trying anyway. And again, just waiting on his movement. I suppose I could charge out and try and take the initiative here, but I'm still at a disadvantage in the battle, and I do really want to be behind my walls when it happens. I've got a spell to make everyone happy, but I don't have anything in terms of casting on my city that would damage him when he assaults or by just being in my boundaries. That's more of a sorcerer thing, I guess. You get the glyphs of power or whatever it is, that damages anyone within your radius, and that would cause him to sort of disappear out. But yeah, Archdruid, I don't seem to have that. Pretty much just waiting for the final big battle at this point. Well, I say final, it's going to be a big battle anyway. With the amount of troops that are going to be involved, it's going to be one of them. Well, it is going to be the biggest that's actually happened in this game so far. Oh, there's his other units coming in. I was thinking about moving them out and having a look at what exactly is going on up there. But yeah, it looks like he's bringing additional stacks in. I'm expecting maybe another one to join, or maybe he's just going to move in with them 4 against my 4. And just trying to move a few spies out, just out of interest of seeing what exactly is going on beyond my borders. Send one down, see maybe they're marching a bunch of stuff up from my city that's down there. Wouldn't surprise me too much if that were the case. Might be building troops from down there as well. Looks like the spy's following me, but send this down here and maybe try and group up on the other side. I have enough money for structures, but I suppose it depends on whether I have enough time to build them. I suppose I've been saying that for quite a few turns now. We're now into turn 76, and I think I've been sat here for about the past 10 turns. You could probably argue that I probably could have done something against it, but I think I would have lost the game by now. But I mean, playing the waiting game isn't exactly much better. Just trying to get stronger creatures in ready for when he comes through. Might actually be able to change it. See if there's anything coming from over here. Not catching sight of anything. Still got the stacks up there. I think one of them's gone down to a 5 because I believe it's the spy drone that was following me. He's got me pinned and he knows it, that's the problem, but I'm behind a stone wall and he needs to make sure that when he assaults me he's strong enough, and if I march out to him I'll lose the benefit of having the stone wall and going against his stronger units. So it's one of those things that we're both at a disadvantage at the moment, I guess, and it's sort of like a bit of a standoff. Try and find out if he's still actually using this city or if he's raised it. No, he's still using it. Looks like he's got some sort of spell on it by the way it's looking. Oh, he's starting to move closer to my cities now. Yeah. I guess all I can do is wait for his attack. Yeah, I was trying to move that north, probably doesn't want to be there, sort of limits the way he can attack. Forge Blast, oh, that's great. So he's damaging my units before the assault even begins. He's just positioning himself now, I think, ready for the it looks like my bottom right hand unit's probably going to get excluded from this battle, depending on who he attacks with. I'm going to assume he's going to try and include all his units, so it's probably going to exclude my bottom right. Yeah, he's got a fallen stack over here as well. He's got units everywhere, I'm outnumbered everywhere I go. Hero, too little too late. Yeah, there's another group coming in. Oh. Yeah, I got this battle going on. And again, just going to have to surrender. This unit was only meant as a scout. There we go. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is my ball. I surrendered, but the balls exploded. Not quite sure what that was all about. Exploding balls is something I could definitely be doing with around now. Send that spider away just to free up the hex so I can have the units positioned in such a manner that they may be included in the battle. Hopefully he'll go on to attack the middle, and that'll include the lot, but I suppose depending on, he could attack one of the outer ones, and that would not include the bottom right handmost one. We're on turn 80 now and it looks like he's about ready to launch his assault. I'm just trying to make everyone happy. Raise the spirits in the battle, but I dare say it'll make much of a difference. The spider's not going to achieve anything, but may as well just send out on a little journey, see what's going on. Won't be surprised if it's either this turn or next turn that he actually launches the attack. It looks like he's positioning his troops for the most ideal assault. Yeah, more Forge Blast. Damaging my troops before the battle even begins. Some of them down to half health already, all of them down to half health already by the look of it. That's not going to do too well when the battle actually starts. I doubt there's much I can build that will really change anything, but it's always worth a look. Could try and build a hospital to heal my units, but if 5 turns he's going to have started to assault me by then. Not quite sure what he's doing. Looks like he's just moving his units around in order to put his best units in the assault. And I'm suspecting this is it. Is it? Got some sort of a bizarre city standoff at the moment where war is ready, but it ain't coming. Nope, we're on to the next turn. I don't even know why. I'm just... There's nothing else to really do because I'm just sitting and waiting for him to... He's sat there poised. I'm not quite sure why he isn't attacking. Ah, there we go. And we're into the attack now. So this is the big battle that's basically been brewing for, what, 20 odd turns? I've barely got any mana. That was a mistake and a half. And looking at what units I do have, I've got flamers, but it's not enough. He's also got that ranged cannon, which won't be doing me too good. I've got a lot of hunters which have bows, but they're relatively weak. Got 2 flyers which can travel quite a distance, so that's good. They can travel over the back and flank attack them. Yeah, I only have the 1 flamer by the look of it. So it's going to be down to the hunters to provide ranged support. Of course I've got my leader and is that 3 heroes? 2 heroes, I believe. Again, same as the last battle, I'm just going to wait until they're closer and then charge my melee units straight out the door whilst I'm concentrating on them with the ranged attackers. I've got a lot more hunters this turn, so there are a lot more ranged attackers, but the ones that are there are weaker than I had at the other city. and I have a lot more wild animals for this one. My leader's just going to have to get stuck in there. If he dies, then he dies. Top priority is defending the city, because if I lose the city, then presumably I'm going to have lost my leader anyway, and that's the game over. So all I can worry about is defending the city. So I haven't really moved anything too drastic. I'm basically just waiting for him to come to me. Wouldn't be surprised, he might take a pot shot with that cannon. I'm not quite sure if it's range. Yes. Straight into the wall. Presumably trying to blow the wall up so his units can just charge straight up. I wouldn't be surprised if he casts some magic. He always seems to, well, for the last 2 turns he was doing the Dread Siege. And of course he was always doing that Power Fist. Yep, Chain Lightning. So that affects all the units within immediate range. I think that may also inflict shock, but I don't know if it was successful. I'll have a look at my turn. And it looks like he's just inching forward. I think he's probably inching until he can see an opportunity to attack. He probably doesn't want to move too much forward, because then all my units will be able to attack. But I think if he moves the minimum amount to be able to shoot at me, he'll be able to pick me off. At this point in time it looks like he's just running at me, so he must not be in range to attack, or maybe he is in range to attack but it's only on the final movement, so he'd have to move the majority anyway. Bloody spy drones again. And it looks like this is just a turn of positioning. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a few shots in at the end of this turn. And his heroes charging forward, attacking a fence. Well done. He sure showed that fence who was boss. So he didn't end up shooting, so he must still not be in range. I can attack with magic, which is good. That's probably the only attack on magic I'm going to get. The reason I've done it there is I can then use my flame attack, and that will whittle them down. Still not enough to actually destroy the unit though. Can get in with my monster hunter. They must have bigger range than the musketeers have. That's the only reason I can assume that he didn't actually attack last turn. Although I'm sure the one that I'm attacking now would be within range. Unless he just opted to defend. Still, I can't see any reason why he wouldn't have attacked. So I'm just shooting at everything I can at the moment. Try and get spy drone out of the way. Don't want the explosions that I had in the last game, although to be honest it doesn't look like I can pick him off fast enough. Heroes and get a few ranged attacks in. Send my wolves straight out. They're not going to do anything behind the gate anyway. Send my eagle. Hopefully, as the units move forward, I'll be able to just fly behind them and get a couple of flanking attacks in. I'm going to have to use some of my units as cannon fodder, just to get cheap shots in. go and face them straight on the battlefield. The Mara can delay him whilst I'm out there. The Mara can get shots in my flamer and not allow him to attack my ranged units, which are probably the only thing I have really going for me at the moment. Got that spy drone coming too close to me. And they're starting to shoot at the walls now and take out some of my ranged units up this side. There's another unit down. Say some of my units were already damaged by the time this battle started as a result of the magic attacks on my city. Flashbang, so they're blinded. I don't know, I'm guessing blindness also affects ranged attacks. Well, it must do because it was affecting the flame attack on the other ones, but I mean stuff like bow attacks, I'm guessing, as well as the magic sort of flame attacks. So that means that hero will effectively have to go down and do melee combat now. And they're getting flanking attacks up on my ranged units, so they're not going to last very long in this state. No, and there's that one down. I imagine he's going to flank. Yep. He gets flanking attacking on there, almost dead. Probably just pick me off with a ranged attack with one of the other units. Again, they'll get flanked because it's turned around. I'm assuming they're going to shoot up the wall at my draconian units. Yep, there falls that. So much for a distraction. And my draconian units are getting torn into. They're getting flanked. Still standing. And they're retreating for some reason. I get hit on them for them retreating. And they're shooting. I'm not quite sure why they didn't just do that. Maybe they have to be a couple of squares away to actually shoot. So my draconian's still standing, so might be able, well, I will be able to get quite a lot of hits in on this hex. Yeah, he's blinded, so he can't use his bow and arrow. And there goes the spy drone, taking out parts of the wall, but I think that was probably his intention all along. There goes my wolf. These units are flanked from both sides. Whoever I attack, my back's going to be exposed. at least the hunters inflict bleeding, which, with this being a large battle, it'll drag on a bit more, so some of those units will actually be well affected by bleeding. My leader's going to have to go out. He's doing nothing behind there. He can get some flanking attacks in whilst the ranged attacks fire down. Or he could just do that. I won't be too surprised if he suffers from blindness eventually though. I'm whittling some of them down, but there's still a couple at the back that have big health, and as you can see he's still got a hero back there, and he's still got the cannon. So there's that going in with the flanking attack like I said I would. So something's going to have the back turned to me after this. And same with this as well. I'm going to have to bring him down, I guess. Or I could do a ranged attack. Yeah, I'll bring him through. He'll do better. There's not a whole lot out on that battlefield compared to the other one, so he'll fare a whole lot better, I think. Might get a couple of flank attacks in on the ones that are too busy focusing up the wall. Especially with being blinded, he can't do a whole lot anyway. And I think that's that wall free for charging. I'm not quite sure what a fully destroyed wall looks like. Maybe it's a bit more evident than that, I'm not too sure. And they attacking my leader? Nope. Maybe they're just positioning themselves for a couple of flanking attacks, I'm not too sure. Got a free flanking hit on them, so that's not too bad. Looks like they're all going straight for that gate now. Yeah, there's flashbang. I think that wasn't on my leader, I don't think. Maybe it was. It looked like it may have been on one of the other sets of units. I wouldn't be too surprised if the success rate for casting on the leader is quite low. They generally have quite good resistance. There goes that, got flanked. And that's the first time his heroes moved further in, I think. Yeah, it is my leader that's been blinded, I think. Oh no, it's them. A good hit on them. And on them. Not doing overly bad. Took out another set of units. And flanking them. Just enough to take them out. And they can only just attack them. They'll probably have to move soon to actually start getting stuff in range. Maybe that's why they moved. Leader getting some good attacks in there. Can't get any flanking attacks in on anything. I'll just pick on the weakest one and try to remove some, try to whittle the numbers down. Fjordus DrKillinger. What a name. Yep, so that's my blinded ranged units, my hunters up on top of the wall gone. So it's pretty much just my leader up that side of the wall now, which isn't going to do too good. I've got another set of hunters over here, Then of course I've got a couple more units down the other end, but once again spread too thin. And he's got a lot of units up this side, and a lot of them are quite well healed, so some of them haven't even been touched yet. And there goes my hunters from the middle, leaving just the left and the right side. And his heroes charging in now. Not enough to kill my hunters though. My hero heavily damaged. And there goes that hero. I knew that might happen by going down on the battlefield, but it was either that or just sit and do nothing. He was blinded and he couldn't do a whole lot from behind. My hunter's almost dead. And his cannon moving in, which I don't like the look of. I did have a spell called Rust, I think it was, which specifically damaged machines, but I kind of figured I had enough going on the battlefield. What do I do with my hero? Try and get a flanking attack in, I guess. I can take these down with a flanking attack. Yep, that's them gone. So, and then I've got these for range. Again, that's a flanking ranged attack. So they're probably going to hit my flyer with a flanking, so that's probably going to be the end of that. And I'm going down with my leader, get a flanking attack on, take out a fair chunk of units. Won't be enough, I don't think. Again, spread too thin, too few creatures. His units are far too strong. I would have never thought Goblin Dreadnought was a good combination. I honestly never thought I would meet anyone using Goblin in this tournament, since most people seem to hate them. But this is a good application of Goblins. It looks like my leader's almost out. And down he goes. And it's... all odds are against me for the city, and of course if the city goes, that's game over. I've got, what, 3 stacks of units left? I think that's 2 now, I can't quite tell if that's part of the same. Oh, that lives to see another day. I wouldn't be too surprised if the hero takes that out though. Yep. And down he goes. Look, is this my last set of units? Didn't even successfully take them out. Nope, I still have another set of units over here. Or there's not a whole lot of them left. Again, pick a few people out, but it's not enough to change anything at this point. In comes his hero, probably going to take that set of units out. Yep, and they're down. Which leaves Mount 1 left, I believe, if I'm correct at counting. And they're down, taken down by the hero. And the city falls. And that's it, my leader's out. My city's wide open. They still need to move on to the city to claim it. But I have 1 stack of units there that was not included in that battle. If by trying to move into my city, it will automatically defend with nearby units. So basically any units that are on adjacent hex to a structure that you control, and that's the same for I think it's watchtowers and forts and the like. They automatically defend that structure. So I think, if I'm correct, yeah, they try to move on to the city, to the main city square, and it pulls in my other army. But in this case, they're heavily outnumbered. It's one stack against, what was it, 3 or 4 of his. I'm going to lose the city anyway, and with my leader dead, playing through this battle would just delay the inevitable. So I'm just surrendering, and that's it. It's a defeat for me. 81 turns. A bit of a slog match, and mostly down to my own fault, but I got myself in a couple of situations that I couldn't actually get out of. So yeah, that was my first experience of live online Age of Wonders through any of the series, and it was an experience. I got taught a lesson, let's say that one. I did say right at the start I needed to be quicker off the draw. I didn't manage to do that, I don't think. I did alright, but I could have done better. But you know, I learned, and I've got a couple more games that I've yet to do in the tournament, so there'll be videos for them coming up, and yeah, hopefully I'll do a little better, so tune in for when those comes round. Thanks for watching.